And we are alive, Pong Soul. What's up?
Everybody, welcome. Happy Thursday evening. Another fantastic episode of PM in the PM on deck. Yes, we are starting late. Pong and Mav in the PM. As a general rule, we always kind of start late, but this is an extra special late night tonight. So we do have a hard stop at 10 o'clock, just letting you all know up front. So we will be going just prior to 10 o'clock so we can get our outros done and get out of here. I do have a schedule that I have to keep. So I got a really early morning tomorrow. So I will have to get out of here at 10. But
11
other than
Eastern,
that,
just for record.
11 Eastern, 10
yeah.
Central. Correct. Yes, I should always throw that
Me
in
and,
there.
me
But
and Pong are
thank
the
you.
rare
What?
centralers.
Yeah. I know we are. We're the weird. We're the oddballs. Anyways, thank you all for coming back and seeing us on another Thursday night, even with the late start. Couple things to get out of the way real quick before we get into all the craziness that this week has brought us yet again in the community, in the industry. Holy shit, there's some weird stuff going on in the industry right now. We're going to talk about all of it, or try to at least get to it. But a couple things happened this week too that I wanted to real quick touch on. First of all, Godspeed and rest in peace, Mr. James Earl Jones. Really one of the most fabulous actors, just from the roles that he played and how memorable those roles were. Sure, you can argue how many more actors did more than him and all that kind of stuff. But my God, almost every role that I ever saw him in, he made a lasting impression, and obviously is the voice of one of my favorite characters of all time. I'd be hard pressed to argue that Darth Vader is not number one of my favorite character of all time, regardless of genre, regardless of any form of media. It doesn't matter. Just what a great man. Just what an excellent human being from all accounts, from everybody who's ever worked with him, anybody who had their lives touched by him. Obviously blessings out to his family, to his friends, and to everybody who ever had anything to do with Mr. James Earl Jones, because what a loss that one is. This is the unfortunate part of getting older and watching, people that you grew up with as children, actors, that you got to know, or whatever the case may be, sports heroes, etc., just passing. And it just gets more and more as the older I get. But man, he left a huge impression on me. So I wanted to say rest in peace to Mr. James Earl Jones, because I know a lot of you in the chat feel the same way I do. Obviously, he had a massive impact from multiple different roles on a lot of us. And then also, real quick, congratulations to Elon, to the entire SpaceX team, and especially to all those freaking amazing brave men and women aboard the Polaris Dawn flight. For anybody who does not keep track of the space stuff, obviously you guys already know I'm a big space geek, went to space camp as a kid. I am saddened that the world has lost a lot of their curiosity and drive to get into space. We had a huge space program that has been tore down to nothing basically at this point. It is the weirdest thing I've ever watched in my entire life, because when I was growing up, it was gigantic. It was the next frontier. It literally was Star Trek, right? We were moving towards space, and then it just all disappeared and it all went away. Sure, there was accidents and tragedies that happened, but that's with anything. When you're breaking boundaries of what humanity can do. And we're not meant to stay on this world. I believe that 1000%. Elon says it all the time, and I agree with him. We are meant to travel. We are meant to spread out. We need to get off this planet. We need to certainly find other ways and other places to go. So we need people like him. And again, if you hate Elon Musk personally, that is fine. That's a whole different show. I love the dude. So I will defend him to the day I die. I think the dude's freaking amazing. If you hate him, I can hear that. But I don't think you can disagree that SpaceX is not a step forward for humanity, that what they are trying to do there is something special. So for anybody who doesn't know Polaris Dawn, this was day 3 today. They actually early this morning had the crew successfully completed the first spacewalk from the Dragon spaceship this morning at 732.2 kilometers above Earth, which is the farthest that a human being has been away from Earth in, I think, 50, 60 years, something like that at this point. I can't remember the exact amount. This is a massive step. This is on its way to obviously sending people to Mars eventually. That's what Elon wants to do. He's got dates all laid out for that. So this is a big step. So they completed the first spacewalk today in the new suits to test out the suits. So they went through this whole program today. Everybody got out there. It all was successful. Massive day for humanity in SpaceX. We need this bad. So just want to give a couple special shout outs to start the show. So let's get to my brother from another right now, Mav, and see if he's got any thoughts on either one of those or if he just wants to jump into what he's been gaming. But we got to get to the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network, the one and only Fun Speculation himself, a.k.a. Mav. What's going on, brother? How's your week been?
Oh, it's been good, man. Yes, shout out to, we talked a little bit about James Earl Jones the other day. And yeah, that was a huge loss for like just memories of like just knowing that person still existed and knowing you never know when you're going to hear his voice and stuff, you know, but now it's like there was every role you ever see him in is like memorable, right? And that's like the biggest testament you can give to somebody that's going to be remembered like that. So yeah, lived a nice long life, so that's a great thing. But yeah, he'll be missed, especially with all that stuff. I wasn't even keeping up with the space stuff. Jasper's trying to keep it all in check. I think he's got his eyes on everything, making sure everything's going good over there. But yeah, it's awesome to hear. You know, I think people should be still exploring that as well, but I don't really keep up with it too much, man. Overall, yeah, it's just been a crazy week, dude. I mean, I've been enjoying a lot of these games. There's a lot of great stuff to play right now, and there's been a lot of crazy discourse, a lot of shenanigans happening with the gaming industry. A bunch of news dropped today. This has been a huge news week for games, actually, like in general, and like industry talk and all that kind of stuff, because it's opened up a lot of conversations that we've been having here for a long time. For a long time, like ever since the channel started, we've been having kind of these discussions about where gaming was going and what was going to transition to. And then when the whole COVID thing happened and inflation all started going, like we started talking about how does that affect things, and even when our speculation started talking about mid-gen consoles and mid-gen refreshes, we talk about like what they could look like, how much they could be, who it's going to be for, and all those kind of things. And man, I got to tell you, dude, it's just like sometimes, you know, you can be too soon on some stuff, right? Where people just aren't really paying attention to it. But overall, when things start happening and things start coming to fruition and you kind of see everything kind of laying out how we've predicted in a lot of ways, it's interesting seeing the reaction of games media and a lot of people that have been kind of stuck in this like only thing I like to think about is the here and now mentality for so long, right? So, you know, we try and always look ahead at the future and what's to come and let rational and common sense thinking dictate that. And it's interesting to see like a lot of people like, oh, have this shock, have this reaction of like,
yeah,
what's happening here? What's happening to gaming? What's happening to the console space? What's happening to all this stuff? And yeah, we're gonna have some fun, kind of like trying our best to put things into perspective the best that we can. So I tried to the other day on a stream, just kind of give some some thoughts on it and stuff. But you know, there's gonna be people that disagree and agree on a lot of different things. But ultimately, you know, it's gonna be up to people on what they decide to do. But yeah, man, you been good though? It's been
I've been fine. I guess I've been fine. Really week of gaming for me, but I had a absolutely stellar weekend last weekend of gaming. because Steele and I went through the entire campaign of Space Marine 2. So Steele and I did the whole co-op live on stream. We had 3 parts to it. We did all the side operations except for one. Just it's I can't say I still have not played PvP. I was supposed to play some PvP, got busy Sunday, could not connect with Steele on PvP. Had too many things going on. And then this week has not been good for trying to come home and sit down and get into online gaming. So that has not been happening. So I've got to play PvP. I got to go back with Steel and play some operations as well, and up the levels and start opening up some more stuff. Steel has been playing PvP almost nonstop himself now. He has been making posts about it. This is now his game of the year. He is calling it his game of the year, which overtook Dragon's Dogma 2. I think right now, Dragon's Dogma 2 is still my game of the year, just in an overall experience from campaign to what I played Dragon's Dogma 2. Again, way two different types of games here, okay? But my God, is this close. Space Marine 2 is fucking fantastic. It is everything I dreamt it would be and kind of talk to you guys all about on all the shows and the hype lead up about what I thought it could be, what role it would fill with for all of those of us that are Gears heads from back in the day. And we haven't had a Gears game in a long time. What that could do. Space Marine 2 did all of that and more. If you are a Gears head, I highly recommend you go play Space Marine 2. If you have a buddy or two to play with you in co-op through the campaign, I highly recommend you do that as well. It simply is just non-stop fun. Steel and I, you can go listen to our streams. Between getting upset, getting angry, to laughing, to just like holy shit moments, and everything in between. You had the full spectrum of emotions with this game. And it's just one of the best straightforward experiences we've had in a long time. We talked about this with Helldivers 2. Get in with your friends, blow up some shit, cut and dry, easy peasy. That's it. That's the enjoyment, and that's what we love. Helldivers 2 is a lot of that. Space Marine 2 is that, except with gigantic set pieces that you remember from the early Gears days. Except with really good to great story at times, which people in the reviews downplayed for some reason. I have no idea if they actually listened to the story. Go ahead.
I'm loving the story,
Bro.
like so far. I'm not anywhere near as far as you guys. I'm kind of slow playing. I'm doing like a mission at a time, you know, because there's like hour-long missions. Like
they're huge.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like playing through one is like, man, that was exhausting because it's like it is relentless, like survival almost, like all the way through those missions too. But the storytelling, the dialogue between the characters throughout the mission, the storytelling that's happening from like the communication to like to your home base or ship or whatever, to the barge, you know, all the communication back and forth, and and then when it gets into the set pieces that for those moments, and a lot of them happen kind of when you're either going right before you go to the barge or like before you leave, and they kind of unfold a lot of the things and reveal things, and they're building I'm not saying they're building a great world because the Warhammer 40,000 has existed for a very long time, but they're showcasing this world and this story and telling great stories within this world that make me extremely, like, a lot more interested in everything, like the whole like religious aspect to it, with the military, like the way that everything for the survival of humanity, it's just the way they're tying it all together, and then tying in like the defending these planets from these invaders, and like then you have factions that have spun off and become rebellious and all that. I mean, it's just like it's just an awesome, great story that I'm learning more about. Really, I mean, I've played Warhammer stuff before, but this is the one that I've played that has grabbed me with the actual storytelling to where I am more invested. And I think it's because it's that traditional like kind of gaming storytelling where they're kind of just put you in the world and kind of reveal this through dialogue and through everything. And it kind of feels like a great action movie, you know, that you're a part of, and you're learning and investing into, okay, well, this, I'm learning about this, I'm learning about that, I'm learning about that. And it's so immersive, man. Like, even if you're just standing on the bar, like in the barge, like ship, your main home ship, and you just kind of sit there and stand, you can see like ships kind of like coming and going and taking off. Like, this is a living, breathing operation here, right? The characters, like even like for like the armory and the diagnostic characters, and like there's people doing like preaching pretty much around there. There's other stories and dialogue going around, and I'm just kind of like taking it all in and kind of being like, wow, I wasn't as interested in all this before, but now I super am. And it's because of how they're presenting it, and they're just doing a fantastic job. And not only that, but the graphics are fantastic and like absolutely awesome. And I mean, as good as really any games like that I've played, you know. And it's optimized, bro. Like, I can't speak to the Xbox version or the PlayStation version or anything like that, but I've heard good things about especially the Xbox version. But for me playing on PC comparatively to other games I've played that are also seem like graphical kind of powerhouses, like this is running like a dream. Like you mentioned before, like you had it running native 4K with all the bells and whistles and everything. Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it off my ultra wide and I'm gonna put it on my TV over there. So I did the same thing. I had it like native 4K running at ultra on everything. And this is with thousands of enemies on the screen. This is with stuff happening in the skybox in the background, explosions, warfare going on. And it's just like, how can these guys, how can Saber, you know, do this when so many other struggle to like have decent optimization performance, even on high end cards at like 1440, it seems like sometimes. And dude, the engine is amazing. And the game that they built is fantastic. I'm kind of like, I'm still early on, so I can't really place it, but just based on my like interest and wow factor right now of what I'm experiencing and as invested I am into the story, it would probably be, I'm thinking it's going to end up being my top for game of the year also. And that's without even touching the multiplayer stuff. I've only been playing the campaign.
Yeah. And that's, I just checked my Steam stats. So again, Steele and I did campaign. We did each side mission that came up during the campaign, except for one. Okay, we got one left that we got to do. Obviously, we took some breaks because we were playing. One of the days we streamed for almost 10 hours, I think, or 8 hours or whatever the hell it was. 17 hours co-op. So just over 17 hours in Space Marine 2. With doing the side mission, because the side missions, they're not small little side missions. These are like full-fledged main missions. Like, that's how big they are.
Yeah, and they what I saw is like they tell the other sides of the stories of some of the missions that you've been a part of, right?
Yeah. Because certain parts of the stories, without spoilers, right, you'll have other teams come in that are there to help you, and they go do something away from the main campaign that you play through, right? You get to go do that. Whatever they're out there doing, you get to go play that squad, right? But you get to use, the cool part is that when you do the side missions, you actually get to pick your classes from the PvP classes. So you get to pick out if you want to be the tank or if you want to be, you know, any of the classes, right? Whether it's a sniper, the assassin class, or whatever. They've got 6 classes, I think, total. You get to pick those classes and you actually earn experience. You earn weapon experience because the weapons themselves also get experience. You earn livery. You earn all of that stuff while you're doing the side missions as well. So that is also freaking awesome because you kind of get to lay out how you want to play each one of those side missions. Can't say enough. Again, Matt, to all your points there as far as the story goes. Yeah, I don't know why people had a problem with the story. There was reviewers who said, "Oh, we want the funny orcs back. We missed the humor from the first one." I made that a running joke between me and Steele as we were going through, and we were going, "What the fuck?" And shout out to Takato and a bunch of people who were with us for a long period of time. And Takato was ahead of us in the campaign. He had beat the campaign already. He was like, "Oh, you guys just wait." As we come across new moments, and Steele and I were like, "The fuck." We watch through this cutscene or we get through this massive boss battle or this massive horde fight, and we're sweating balls, figuratively, because it's just like, holy shit, what do we just freaking, that was intense. And then I go, yeah, but man, I could really use the humor of some of those fucking orcs around here right now. What the fuck are we doing? No, you guys, no, they did a great job. Again, with the story, and it gets better and better and better. And even the ending itself. And if you have played the first one, now they catch you up to speed. You don't need to play the first one to play this one. But if you have played the first one, there's some stuff at the end that you'll pick up on. More so than if you haven't played it. But it's like, holy shit. Wow. That was freaking fantastic, man. That was freaking fantastic. What a way. Just wild, crazy stuff too starts happening. Wild, out of this world stuff, man. You think you've seen it, and then you start getting towards the end. Holy shit. There are moments where Steele and I are like, are we seeing this? Is this real on our screen right now? Saber, like you said, Mav, hats off to Saber, because who would have thought Saber will put together this kind of complete package, right? Because I've always liked Saber. Saber does good work, but they've been a AA squad. Let's be real. Again, Warhammer has been a AA franchise its entire time. Again, we thought that Dark Tide could break through and be that AAA experience. It didn't, because of all the problems it had. This is the first one to break through. This is AAA from start to finish. This is a complete game. Sure, you could say they don't have enough PvP maps. Absolutely. Steele's been playing nonstop. He goes, yeah, you could say that they need more maps, right? Sure. They could have filled out the special operations, the side missions a little bit more, had a little bit more of those ready to rock and roll. But again, you got to remember, games aren't made like this anymore. They don't have complete packages like this. The fact that we have a single player with a classic PvP and co-op mode all in one complete package that performs very well. Now, it can be optimized even more. Shout out to Oh No, It's Alex, and they've already talked about it too. The devs themselves, they're patching this out. They're going to correct the problems that they have. It overloads your CPU a lot. I started finally getting crashes, Mav, running at 4K native. Ultra everything while Steele and I were playing through. It was great for a while, and then all of a sudden I got like 3 or 4 crashes in a row. You guys can go see it live on stream. I had to start turning down settings, right? I had to turn down stuff, and finally got it to a point where it stabilized and I was good. But there's a lot of room to optimize. But overall, compared to what we normally see out of games, oh no. This game is very well done. The online, very, very little problem. Steele and I had maybe 3 disconnects between us while we were co-op coming out of a mission. Maybe not even 3, maybe 2. Again, comparatively speaking, this is what we used to get back in the day, except on the level that it should be now. But nobody does this anymore. So I am going to give Saber slack. I am 100%. There is no battle passes here, folks. This is, you pay the price and you get everything and you unlock it through progression. Now, down the road, are they going to have it? Sure, they might introduce it. That's fine with me. They've earned it. But let's give them some time. I'm willing to give them some time for what they've already put down on the table. We don't get third-person shooters like this. Again, this gives you the Gear effect Steel has been talking about nonstop. No, it's not a cover shooter like Gears. No, you don't have the wall-bounce shotty that you get in the Gears, right? That's all removed. It's a slower pace.
You get that camaraderie feeling with your squad and like the storytelling and
they say brother a lot and stuff.
It's all that, man. This is the stuff that makes Warhammer a great IP that for the people who have not played, and I've seen a lot of people jumping into this for like their like really first serious Warhammer experience. I mean, hats off to all you too, because like you couldn't ask for a better experience. But if somebody said, "Hey, Paul, give me one game or one book or whatever," and I haven't read the book, so to be fair, I wouldn't know. But The books are supposedly pretty complicated because of all the lore that's involved in them. But if somebody just said, show me something or give me something that I can play that would tell me what Warhammer kind of is in general as an IP, this would be it, hands down. There would not be a Total War Warhammer. You could never throw out any other game out there. This is the game I would give them because this is the exact atmosphere. This is why, right? This is why Netflix is putting together a show, hopefully, right? Hopefully, if they can get their act together, about the Space Marines. Steele himself was never interested in Warhammer, any of the lore. Now he's totally interested in Space Marines. Of course, it's dudes in suits, which is his kink. So, no kink shaming, Steele, but this is his kink. He loves dudes in suits, right? Now he's totally interested in Space Marines. And he said he started looking at some of the other Warhammer stuff, and he said, nah, I really just care about the Space Marines. That's cool. This is a dude who never had any interest in anything Warhammer. That's how good this game is. And I think this is special. It fills that role that a big gap in gaming that we don't have right now in a lot of ways. And I think, again, this is part of the notes, but whatever, we'll just say it now. They announced earlier this week, 2 million copies sold. Massive for a Warhammer franchise. Then the devs came out. Let me pull that real quick here. Hold on for a second. Let me get off of Steam and let me pull that quote here real quick. Let me find it. I know I threw it in our chat. Where is it? There's the 2 millions. Hold on. Here we go. Saber Interactive CCO says Todd Hollandshead, former CEO of id Software, right? So guys got some know-how, right? Makes sense. Todd Hollandshead and I believe that Space Marine 2 is the fastest selling game we've ever worked on, including all the Quakes, Doom, Wolfenstein, and Rage games over the years. Bro, that is impressive. However you want to dice it for a Warhammer game, to have that, like even that thought, even if it's not technically true, if they went back and went like, oh, okay, whatever, Doom beat it by this much. The fact that they both think that this is the fastest selling one out of all those franchises that they've worked on, bro, that says a lot. This is a big W. I actually went, I told Steele this too, and watched some Warhammer channels. There's some massive Warhammer channels out there. And I picked some of the guys that and gals that actually do play the video games too. A lot of them are the tabletop stuff and the painted figurines and all that kind of stuff. The Henry Cavills, right? The big time people who are into Warhammer completely. But I picked out some of the channels that do play video games. Especially this one guy, I forget his name, forgive me, because I watched it days and days ago. But they were all so ecstatic. But this one dude was just like, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we needed to see Warhammer have 200,000 plus concurrent players on Steam alone playing a game in the Warhammer universe is exactly what all of us needed. This is what we've been waiting for because this means that this franchise, this IP is more valuable than ever before, and they're going to continue to invest in it now. Now it's on. Because now they know we put the resources AAA wise into this game. We even delayed it and gave it extra time like a AAA dev should when it needs it. And look, we were rewarded. And people love this Warhammer. They love the Space Marines. It means we're going to get more. Yeah. Right? And it means they're going to come back for more. Listen, this is huge.
Even right now, like just to speak on the numbers, like the only 3 games ahead of it on Steam is Counter-Strike 2, Banana, and Dota 2.
Yep.
And that's with it having a concurrent right now of 124,000 on a Thursday night, you know. So more like overall, it's still doing great, and it's gonna have a lot of staying power, I think.
And it's meme worthy. People are clipping the hell out of this game and posting memes about this game. Good memes. Again, the mentality. This is testosterone fueled hyper masculinity that so many people hate and say the modern audience, we don't want this. This is not what it's for. This is the opposite of some of the shit we've been getting lately. The fact that there is still a massive audience that we've all talked about is still here for this stuff. And now you got the younger generation clipping this shit going, yo, where do I sign up? I'm ready to be a Space Marine. Like, they're clipping these clips are incredible. Steele and I sat through, there's 2 times where there was a leader giving a speech, an NPC leader in the background giving the speech to troops, where Steele and I stopped and listened to the entire damn thing because that's how good they were. Like, I was clapping after one of them on live stream, I think. I was like, hell yes. That was fucking incredible. Like, that's how good this game is. So, just so good to see, man. We need more of this shit. This is what I grew up on. This is the video games that, you know, obviously were the prime time and during 360. This style, but with this much effort put into it, like Mav said, it's drop dead gorgeous and everything. It just feels good. Every single weapon feels good. The just sawing through these hordes of enemies. Now, is everything perfect? No, the parry system fucks up sometimes. The dodge system fucks up sometimes. It's not perfect. You know, ACG talked about that in his review. But my God, overall, when you're fighting like 100 enemies are crowded around you and you're just trying to get through them all and there's just blood everywhere. Yo, this is primal, man. Yeah. This is primal. We just, it just hits right, man. So good. So yeah, that was what I did this week. Actually, Mav, playing Warhammer Space Marine 2, since I knew I wasn't going to be into PvP or anything, it actually got me to re-download Inquisitor again. I re-downloaded Inquisitor, which is the Diablo clone.
Yeah.
I re-downloaded that on Xbox. I actually picked it up on PC too now. I found it cheap. I haven't started on PC, but I did pick it up on Xbox. Got back into my character again. It's like relearning everything. Inquisitor, if anybody wants to know, it's an older game. It was done by, Neopets. Or not Neopets. God, what is, I'm thinking of the game, the old stupid shit. Can't remember. Anyways, they didn't launch it very well. People panned the hell out of it. They've done a ton of updates over the years. Does it show its age, especially on console? Yeah, it shows its age. They do have a series version that's updated, but you have to, if you bought the old version, you actually have to pay the full price for the new version, which is terrible. I never bought the new version. It plays well enough. It's a Diablo clone, so you really don't need all the bells and whistles. But if you want to know what it is, it's in between Diablo and Path of Exile. So I would say that Diablo 4 is much more for the masses, much more easier to understand and grasp a lot of all the technical shit that you have inside the game when it comes to weapons, gear, when it comes to mission structure, when it comes to, finding, completing different quests in order to get certain items and all that kind of stuff. I would say Diablo 4 is on the more mass kind of consumer side now. They've done that on purpose. That's fine. Path of Exile, we all know, most of you have heard what people describe Path of Exile as. Holy shit, like, oh my God, you better be ready or you're going to be overwhelmed in Path of Exile. A lot of people have taken one look at the skill tree and uninstalled the freaking game after they looked at the skill tree. This is somewhere in the middle. It's not as easy or simple as Diablo 4, but it's not as complicated as Path of Exile either. So when I jumped back into it, I was like lost. I was like, what was I doing? What was I going for? What was my build? What was I trying to accomplish here? What was I doing? So it's taken me some time to get back into it, but I love Inquisitor. I think Inquisitor is underrated. There's a ton of content in this game. They've actually released all 7 seasons that they've had over the years. They've actually opened them all up, and you can play those seasons in any order you want to. You could roll through them any which way you want to. You could still multiplayer. If you got friends and stuff, you can still co-op. You can still do all that kind of stuff. I think, Mav, you and I played it originally back when we first downloaded it.
Yeah, I remember we played it, and then right after we started playing it, they announced the Series X version was coming, and we were like, oh, they're going to be free? Is it going to be free? They're like, no. You're going to have to buy it.
Yeah. No. But it is freaking.
It was Neocore. I just looked it up.
Neocore. Thank you. I had Neopets on my head, but Neocore. Yeah. But hopefully this sparks them or somebody to say we could do an Inquisitor 2 with how big action RPGs are now, like Diablo 4, because Mav played it too. Inquisitor is underrated. It is a fantastic game. The classes are awesome. The levels are what you would expect out of a grindy action RPG.
Featured
game too. Yeah.
Right. It's
For
got
ARPGs,
everything you would
yeah.
expect. Yeah. So I actually downloaded that and started playing that again. Other than that, Age of Empires 4. Age of Empires 4 continued just to drop in.
Even with the Age mythology.
Oh, I mean that's what I meant. Age of Mythology.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I misspoke. I had Age on my mind, and I
Yeah.
said Age 4. No, Age of Mythology retold. Yeah, no, I jumped into Age of Mythology again. I pop into that nightly. It's a way that I cool out at the end of the night. It's so peaceful now, and I've got again running with set. I'm trying the other gods, and I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that I can get down where I really am like, okay, actually, this kind of puts them above set. But man, I keep going back to set, and I'm like, oh, this just feels so comfortable. The build is just amazing. Even when the computer gets a rush on me early and gets me behind a little bit, like I can catch up, and I get my flock of phoenixes now. I'm telling you, Mav, it's freaking unstoppable. When you get the flock of phoenix going, bro, you are demolishing. Oh my god, the computer has no response, even when they take them out, and they're quick builds too. So as long as you got your statues up and you're building up your blessings, you can remanufacture those phoenixes quick, man, and they pop out and you bring them right back into battle again. Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So Age of Mythology is freaking awesome for anybody who doesn't know. So that's it. Long intro, but I guess I got Space Marines. We got Space Marines 2 out of the way, which was a topic tonight because of the huge success it's having. I'd love to see this break through. Man, if this is up for any awards, that will be another jump for a Warhammer game. And I think this could definitely, I'm not saying it's going to sneak into Game of the Year awards, maybe some of the other, not the Keeleys, but maybe elsewhere, but some of the other technical stuff, some of the actor awards, like it should be in there. And it should be up for like best action game of the year, best shooter of the year, whatever you want to call it. It should be up there.
The other side of this too is like, wasn't Saber the one that kind of bought their independence from?
Yes.
So they got their own independence from Embracer Group earlier this year, right? And so I think this comes at a important time for that company to have a huge success like this. I'm hoping it can stabilize things and help them kind of start to grow and to invest in more franchises and learn from this game and say like, this is kind of making great experiences like this is going to be our path to success. Right. And just keep that going, because there's some other big games that they have, I think that down the pipeline that they've been working on and stuff. So the fact that this came out and is as successful as it is will hopefully help all of those games in the future for us. So as a gamer, it's good to see good successes get rewarded, right?
Agreed. It's really good, man. It's really good. And Saber, and they have now an engine that is proven. This engine.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Like, this is amazing. Like, everything that they learned from World War Z and then built upon into this. Because, I mean, World War Z had moments where it looked good, but it wasn't like anything spectacular.
Yeah. This
game is spectacular. And so they have their own proprietary engine now that they know can do wonders. Steel. Mr. Gears himself was like, Coalition's got to step up, man. Obviously we both have confidence that Coalition and whatever they do with E-Day, it's going to look fucking stupid. So we both have the confidence.
But Gears is going to be,
but even Steel was like, they got to step up their game. They do. And Steel said this engine shows that it doesn't always have to be Unreal to have that Unreal feel to it, because this game does. If you didn't know any better, you could definitely say, oh, this is probably Unreal 5. And it's not, and that's crazy.
I question if the developers could do what with Unreal 5 at the performance level.
Not with the swarm, not with the swarms, bro.
Right,
not with all the background stuff and the lighting. I don't think so. It'd be tough. Let's put it that way. Because that's what this engine's set up to do.
Performances usually hit so hard on that. This is what when everybody was like, "Oh, I'm so disappointed. This game isn't an Unreal." Why didn't they just use Unreal? Why aren't they going to use Unreal and all this stuff? And early on, what did we keep saying? Like, not everything needs to be an Unreal fucking engine. It's great that we have diversity out there with the tech that these developers are using, because guess what? You have certain developers that become ultra proficient with their own tools and their own work, and they're able to do things that feel different, look different, and achieve different kinds of things. And man, I'm super happy that that exists. And there's several examples. Like, you have the RE engine out there, you know, you got the Decima engine, you have Forza Tech, you have id Tech, you have the Swarm, like I said, the Swarm engine. I mean, there's so many great options out there these developers are working on it, and you just really kind of see these things shine, you know. And Unreal Engine is a great engine too, right? There's great examples of that, but I love when you see developers that are using kind of like their own tech, kind of just like, see, look what we can do, you know. Even Helldivers 2 uses like some weird ass engine, you know, from like back in the day. Like, it's just great to see that stuff. I really like it.
I agree. Can't say enough about it, man. Anybody asking? I saw some people bring it up. My Ubisoft saga continues.
I ranted about it a little bit for you on behalf of you on FSP.
I'd love to say that on the cause of their stock prices falling, that I am this small minority owner who is asking for them to sell. Because if I was that small minority ownership, I'd be doing the exact same thing. I would be telling Yves and the Guillermo family to leave. And go somewhere else. You're not wanted here anymore. So no, my Ubisoft saga still continues. It is not fixed. They responded and said they're going to get, because for anybody who doesn't know, everything was fixed, right? They closed my ticket. Good. I saw my email. Then it wants me to confirm my email address now. So I go and I say, sure. And it's going to send me an email to my email address that they corrected. I never get their confirmation emails now. No matter how many times I request it, I don't get I don't get the email saying, "Hey, this is your email address, right?" I don't get them. So they have said that they're going to send me that, but that was a day and a half ago. And I still have not seen it, and they still have not closed my ticket, which means they're not done yet. They claim that they are very busy right now. I wonder why. I wonder why you guys have such great customer service, because nobody could just talk to you directly and fix this shit in 3 minutes. It has to be days for everybody through email. Like we're back in fucking 2009. This is 2024. The internet now handles straight up live service. Okay. If a company as big as Amazon can do it, Ubisoft, you guys can do it too. I don't care if you outsource. I don't care if I'm talking to Peter who lives in India. I don't care, right? Just give me live people who I can say, this is the problem. And they go, oh, we can see that, sir. Hold on for 1 minute. And then put me on hold. And they're like, oh, you should see an email in your inbox in just a moment or two. Please tell me that you do, and then confirm that email address. And then we'll verify that you can log in before I let you go today. Like that. That's all we would be doing. And it would literally take 3 minutes and we'd be done with this whole fucking thing. But no. I'm lucky. I got plenty to play. There's been a lot of other stuff taking up my time. Am I upset that I'm paying for Ubisoft Premium right now? $18, and I haven't been able to touch any one of their games yet, especially Star Wars Outlaws. Yes, I am upset. Once this is fixed, I'm asking for a credit. We'll see if they provide that credit. That'll be an update to the story later down the road. But I will be asking them for a credit, like, hey, give me a month free, since you guys took 3 weeks to fix this shit. So we'll see where that goes. But that's the update on that. So
yeah, luckily my 2K issue was resolved for NBA 2K.
Did they say, or did they give you anything for it?
The last time this is weird as shit. They were like, well, we don't have any updates. But one of the users, I guess somebody else had the same problem, or maybe it's an ongoing problem that they haven't acknowledged publicly. Right. Mm-hmm. So you can't find anything about it on the forums or anything. I looked everywhere, but I guess other people have been having issues or whatever. So, I couldn't launch my team. It kept going into a black screen on NBA 2K25. And that was going on for like 5 days. And the last back and forth that they had sent said one of the users reported, if you go to this specific, so like you can go into My Park, which is a completely different mode, right? and go into a place in my park, and if you go to a specific my park location,
yeah,
and quit out from there and then launch into my team, it will work.
What?
Some random ass thing, like it fucking worked. But who would have thought in a million years, like,
who figured that out?
The fucking city that's in a completely different mode, go somewhere, quit out, and then go into my team, and you're gonna be fixed. But anyway, it worked.
This is why I'm rooting for AI, people. This is some of the stuff that I'm rooting AI for.
So fucking weird.
Number one, customer service that can be fixed on the fly because AI doesn't sleep. It'll be there 24/7 whenever you AI for customer service, 1000%, and AI to help the devs bug shoot all of this nonsense. Because Mav, what are the odds that somebody figured that shit out? Come on, man. It doesn't even seem like that somebody figured that shit out.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, this isn't gonna work, but I'll try it, but it fucking worked. I was shocked. So anyway, that's resolved. Still a bug they got to fix, but
Psychonauts, I could start a new account, but I shouldn't have to. I have a legacy account. I've had my account with Ubisoft for like 15 fucking years. It's got all my Ubisoft stats from all my games in there.
Yeah.
Like, is that stupid? Yeah, it's stupid, but the point is I shouldn't have to start a new account. But yes, obviously, if I of course, I've got other email addresses, I could start a new account. But I also do have my Xbox linked to this account already from previous time, which means that it might block me from linking my Xbox account to a new account as well. So I haven't gone down that road yet. I'm not to that point yet. I want them to fix this problem. This should be done. Again, they fixed the major problem. Now it's just getting me a confirmation email so I can confirm my email address. Like, this should not be I don't know why their system refuses to send it to me, but whatever. We'll find out. But yeah, I just don't think I should have to do that. That's all. Let's see here. Yeah, Psycho, I've had an Ubisoft account for fucking ever, bro. I've had multiple Ubisoft accounts. That was originally one of my first problems, was they had to merge my two Ubisoft accounts together because I've got a legacy account. Anyways, it's just a massive F up because of their system, the way they got it designed. All right, let's get to this chat shout out real quick because we got amazing people in here. I do want to make sure I shout you guys out, and then we're going to get into these topics. Got about 2 hours left for the show here, so we're going to hop in. We got a lot to talk about, so I do want to get into this. Of course, a brother from another Psychonauts on the front lines at GameStop. Psycho, it's good to see you, brother, always. Weapon X is out in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Weapon X. We got BT Maverick 707 here, says Outlaws finally got the cross saves working. That's awesome to hear. I've been seeing people loving Outlaws. Like, I can't wait to jump into this game and judge for myself. I have a feeling it's gonna be another one of those games where I go, I don't know what the hell everybody else was talking about. I don't understand the hate train for this game. I'm getting excited to go play this game. I wanted to play this for a while, but good to hear, BT. They do have to fix some stuff because I have seen some of the issues they've had, especially with the stealth missions and stuff. It sounds like they're going to turn those down, which is good. But Mav said he wasn't really having too many issues with it. So, God, I can't wait to play Star Wars Outlaws. Cyber Gunter's in the house. What's going on? Him and Frizzle were having a little conversation about Henry Cavill, and I heard that as well, that potentially, grain of salt time, but again, we do get speculation from other parts of other industries as well. Of course, Hollywood. Henry Cavill supposedly does have an issue with some of the retconning. That's a whole Warhammer. Oh boy, right now with their community, the Warhammer community in general, that is a huge, massive battle happening right now. They are trying to retcon some stuff, which is not okay. The lore's been around for too long. You just don't do it. Go create new lore somewhere else. But the old lore stays. You guys know I'm a firm believer in this. They destroyed Star Wars by trying this shit. They better not destroy Warhammer. But the rumor is that Henry Cavill and his the show for Netflix is on hold because he is disagreeing because he is a massive Warhammer fan, that he is disagreeing with some of the changes that they are requesting be made for a modern audience. Henry's like saying no. Don't know if that's true or not. No idea. Could be something else. Could be money. Could be time. Who the hell knows? But I'm just saying, overall, the Warhammer community has a split right now, and I just hope that Workshop doesn't fuck it all up by doing some stupid Star Wars shit, Disney Star Wars shit. Anyways, Mongoose Mall, Blood Bowl next for you, Mongoose. I own a couple of Blood Bowls. I play them. I buy them. I gotta say, I just wish they weren't turn-based football. Like, they're fun, but my God, do they take some time, man. And I know it's the tabletop version of the game. I get it. Like, trust me, I know it. And it is cool. I love the characters. I love all the different... I love everything. I love all the different races. I love the commentary. I love all that stuff. I wish it was Mutant League Bowl, but just called Blood Bowl, where it was live action, real football. Like, just... To me, that would be better, but I do like Blood Bowl. And I do buy them, especially when they go on sale, man. Who else is in here? We've got the Stash Gordon in the house. Let's go on, Stash. Do tons and tons of research first. Stash said, I just built one over the spring. I just used logical increments and PC part picker to help up the front research. Do tons and tons of research first. Yeah, Stash. I went pre-built. Everybody knows this. I announced that early. I don't try to fake anything. I was in the mood or in the mental state to build my first PC out the gate. So I went pre-built. And again, I know that's sacrilegious to plenty of PCMRs, but I talked to Steele. I talked to lots of people who knew tech in the background and asked them their opinions. And me and Steele went through a ton of different options. And I finally found a pre-built that he was comfortable with, that he was like, yeah, I think you could roll with that one. It's going to work and it's going to last. And so I went with it. Now we'll find out, right? It's been just about a year and a half now. And I've had no issues. Has it been a year and a half? Did I just get this year? I always forget.
No, we got him last year for Starfield.
Did we get him last year? That's what I thought. We got him last year. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably got it like.
Yeah, I got it in April or
April.
May.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, it's been a year and a half or whatever. Been fine so far, besides the usual PC stuff. But yeah, people considering PC, which there are going to be more and more people, definitely do your research. Either way, do your research for sure. But if you're going to build it by yourself, hats off to you. It is a learning process, but once you do it, it's supposed to be freaking amazing. And then from there on out, you just get better and better at it. The next PC I plan on building it. So we will see. Let's see here. Who else we got? Micah Ford is in the house. What's going on, Micah? Always great to see you, brother. We got the Lotus Esprit, one of my favorite cars, in the house. What's going on, Lotus? Super excited for Indiana Jones and Carmen Sandiego. Is there a new Carmen Sandiego game coming out? Jesus, I haven't played one of those in freaking like 3 decades.
Let me know about that, Lotus, if that's a thing.
Is there a new Carmen? I think maybe we did hear. Is that coming out of Embracer?
In the world is Carmen Sandiego.
I think Embracer owns that IP now.
Really?
Man, I think I do remember that being one of Embracer's.
What would a modern day Carmen Sandiego game be like?
It could still be point click, because point click is still massive. It's still big, right? I loved Carmen Sandiego back in the day. I haven't played them in decades, but man, way back.
I just liked I liked the show with the doo-wop guys and the outside.
Yep. Oh, but the games were so good. I love puzzles, man. I loved figuring shit out. Spitin' 13, what's going on? Says modern audience is a scam. Agreed, sir. Agreed. Not everybody does, but I do agree. Let's see here. Single player games, motherfucker. Stash Gordon says, yes, sir. Single player games are all the rage all of a sudden, Mav. All the rage. They're the ones putting up the big numbers lately, too. Obviously, the big boys multiplayer is still putting up huge numbers. Call of Duty 6, by the way, beta. Broke the all-time record, biggest beta ever for Call of Duty.
And the most intriguing one is like per user most playtime.
Yeah, most playtime. Correct. Yep.
So that means the players that tried it were super engaged and playing.
I saw so many people that haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, just loving it. And I've saw so many people that don't play the multiplayer, that play the single player, that just jumped into the multiplayer for the fuck of it and said, "Oh, I can actually do this. Oh, I can actually play this game. This actually feels good to me." They got something special. Treyarch's got something special brewing, man. October could be massive. We're going to find out. Sanchez, MTZ Gaming. I see ya. What's going on? Great to see you. Rings of Power. Ooh, boy. Oh, boy. Visually, stunning. $1 billion for each season. Wasted. That's all I'm going to say. Again, as a Lord of the Rings fan, as a Tolkien guy who read the books starting really early, actually in grade school, I read the books. It is not Lord of the Rings. Okay? It's not.
I stopped watching the first season
visually
midway through.
Yeah, but visually and some of the stuff, like some of the battles and all. I mean, again, for that, I can just turn my brain off and I watched through the first season. I did watch the first season. I don't know if I'll probably hop into season 2 at some point if I get bored or something like that, just to see. But my God, it's not Lord of the Rings. It's not Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. It's some fucking weird shit. Anyways, but yeah, spectacle wise, yeah, $1 billion. Some of the special effects, though, just like the Marvel shit. It's like, guys, the costuming. How is this worse than Peter Jackson's movies from fucking 2 decades ago?
Yeah.
Like, how? When you guys are spending this much money, like, I don't understand, Mav. I don't understand what's happened to that side of things between special effects and like costumes and that kind of stuff. How are we going backwards after all this time? Like, it's crazy. It looks like cosplay.
It is strange. Yeah.
It is strange, man.
You see these, but you see some shows do it amazing. You know,
Mhm.
like it just, I think it just comes up with the talent
weird.
of the people that are working, because you have some shows that are way lower budget and stuff, like just like,
Yes.
wow,
Doing much better things.
Yeah.
Yes. It's strange, man. Buzz is in the house. What's going on, Buzz? Great to see you here as well. Alvin, I see you, says, and no MTX. That's right. No microtransactions for Space Marine 2 either. Micah Ford, member for 39 months. Congratulations. 39 months, Mav. One of the originals. Gotta be.
It's a long time,
Right?
man.
It's fucking 3 years and 3
We're all
months.
aging here together.
Yeah, we are. We're all aging together. We're all going to be buried here together online. Calorie, what's going on, Calorie? He says, I've been trying to get into Space Marine 2 for over an hour to play with my buddies, and it keeps crashing every time. Only issue with PC gaming. Yep, it's random too. I get it.
Depends on your
frustrating.
personal rig. It's always
and it could be the
yeah.
night before it works. The next morning, it doesn't. For no reason, no
Yeah.
updates.
It's
I fucking hate
that's
it.
the thing about
I
PC
still-
games, man. It's
Yep,
like that's
it
the
is.
best thing about console gaming is if you're having a problem, it's more likely that a lot of other people are having the same problem.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely. Agreed, sir. Decado is in the house. What's going on, Decado? Great to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. We got Mr. Waffles in the house. I love waffles. Don't know why you hate pancakes, sir, but I'd love to see your name in the chat. Thank you for joining us tonight. Night Turtle, what's going on? We got the Nam Omar in the house. What's going on, Nam? Great to see you as well. We got the Mitchie Dies a lot. Thanks for dropping in here, friends. Appreciate you. We got the Brett Bam in the house. What's going on, Brett? We got the Andrew Cullinane in the house. What's up, Andrew? We got the Mass Hole 1977. Sup, nerds? Sup to you, nerd? I love that. I still wear that with a badge of honor. Game Shark, I see you in here. What's going on? Let me see here. Anybody jumping at the bottom? The Sousa's in the house. What's going on, Sousa? Is Call of Duty going to be PS5 Pro Enhanced? That has not been announced yet, sir. Would I doubt it? No. I said this a while ago. No, I wouldn't doubt that eventually they do have the enhanced version. They're trying to sell copies over on PS5. Why would you not have a PS5 Pro version to sell copies to, especially out the gate, to those people that spend $700, $800, $1,100, $1,200 on a console upgrade? They're going to want to buy some games that show it off. So why would Activision and Xbox not want to give them a PS5 Pro version of Call of Duty?
I thought it was going to be a requirement also, is what the things were early
yeah,
on.
it's after a certain date, right?
Right.
So
at some
maybe
point, all of them will be. I don't know.
They will have to take advantage of it, but it just makes sense. Why wouldn't you? Again, you're trying to sell
maybe Call of Duty will be out technically before the PS5 Pro. So
do they have to at that point?
Right, because it'll already have been released. You know?
I still think they do it down the road, even so. Because again, it's an automatic buy, like to show off. Again, it's already an automatic buy in a lot of ways, so maybe they don't think that way. But in my eyes, why wouldn't you do it? Again, if you're going to be third-party publisher, you're a third-party publisher. You're going to take advantage of other people's hardware. It's not, again, they don't care. Like, it's just different now, man, whether we like it or not. And I hate it, but whatever. It's over with. It's done. Mongoose Mall, I see you in here. Dion Hayes, I think I got you as well. Mig Elite, what is going on? He says Outlaws, they say Outlaws is game of the year for me so far. Again, I've been hearing a lot of this praise, Mav. I've been hearing a lot of people say, I don't know, I don't understand the hate train for Outlaws. Like, I'm really getting this feeling that as soon as I jump into this game, I'm going to go, what the fuck?
Did you hear Jasper's thoughts on FSP?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he's like really liking it too.
Jasper,
yeah, he was like,
wait,
really,
it wasn't
really
just
like,
Oh, it's okay. It's good.
No, he's like, the more I
Really
played it, I got better and better. I really liked the story, and like he was like, he said it's a
That
really fun
says a lot.
game. He didn't have
Yeah, it
any
doesn't say
issues that a lot of the people had with it, and
Bro, we got another
it's like-
cyberpunk situation.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, I mean, not to that
it's
level. 'cause
it's
Cyberpunk was a
again,
whole
this
nother
is
level.
one of the games that gets for some reason thrown into this hive mind hate train thing with media, and it kind of picks up into the mainstream a little bit. But like, the most people that I've actually spoken to that play it, or that I know have played it, have all said good things. But I've seen more negative coming from people that haven't played it, and from the games media. It's games media and people that haven't played it. Oh, another failure, another trash game, or another UB thing, or whatever. And the people that are playing it are like, yeah, I actually like it. It's good. So I don't know. I think it's a really good game. Like on the Xbox Series X, I have had zero issues with any kind of bugs yet. For me personally, story is engaging and interesting. There's lots of stuff to do, and you can kind of live in this like Star Wars world and kind of be this outlaw like character. And it's got stealth elements, it's got like open world elements, it's got combat, like it's everything. I mean, that thing's like extremely difficult, but like it's more of a adventure game. It's not really meant to be like a Souls-like type experience or something.
no,
And like I
Thank
feel
God.
like maybe
Get
like
enough
gamers are so used to like games kicking their ass now with like the combat and the difficulty level of that is like and that's what they're looking for action games more so like this. I don't really know, because Assassin's Creed's not that either, right? But it never really gets shit on like this. I don't know why.
No, I mean, Ubisoft in general deserves to get shit on. Again, I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with anybody. We've demolished Ubisoft,
yeah.
bro. We have demolished Ubisoft.
Is it mainly just
years.
because of the shot of the face that's going around to the character?
That's what I'm thinking, that it took over part of it.
Yeah.
But then there's this other parts. I mean, the reviews were hit or miss, right? The reviewers were both back and forth, and the reviewers obviously weren't a part of the whole discourse either.
Yeah.
A lot of the reviewers just didn't like the game, like the stealth elements. You know what, this makes me scared, Matt, for Splinter Cell.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Thinking, bro,
I said that on
did you
in the DMs? Yeah, I said that.
Okay,
in the DMs
I didn't see
because
that. I honestly did not see that DM. That just hit me.
I
now
think it
when we were
was
talking
in
about this.
Fuzzy had posted it somewhere, or maybe it was on Twitter, and I commented. And I was like, I just hope. My thinking was, I just hope this doesn't cause Ubisoft to rethink having a true stealth game for the Splinter Cell remake,
right?
Because of this reaction from the casual market that isn't into stealth games, right. I hope because Ubisoft, they like just
I know that's what I'm saying.
Things and,
right. Especially when like something like this happens, and that, like, again, that was part of the problem with some of the reviewers, where like the stealth sections are too touchy.
I could see Eve's going to them. Hey, I don't think that we can actually do the stealth type game now, because what has happened with the Star Wars game that we have. The players don't like the stealth, so we cannot have the stealth in this game. We either have to change the game, or we have to not do the game anymore, because it does not resonate with the current audience of our Ubisoft players.
Bro, you do a great Eves, by the way.
Yeah.
No. That fucker needs to go. But yes, I could see him doing that too, man. I literally could.
How can we monetize the instant fail? How can we monetize the instant fail? Can we start charging for more attempts?
No. It's gonna turn into a full-fledged action game. Oh, look at the Space Marine 2. Let's do that with the Splinter Cell.
Maybe we can. I mean, originally what they were gonna. Do you remember back in the day on 360 after Double Agent kind of didn't have the success that they wanted?
Correct. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed was all becoming the rage, and they were like, "How do we turn Splinter Cell into that?" And so they started work with like
I don't remember.
Yeah, there was a long gap between Conviction and Double Agent, and they were originally going to make Splinter Cell Conviction into this other game where you're just like walking around amongst the crowds and stuff, like in Assassin's Creed, and you're like going to be hiding amongst the people and stuff. And this was in the gaming magazines and stuff like that.
I don't remember that.
I was like, I don't like this. It sounds like they're just changing it to be like an action game and like Assassin's Creed, and which is Ubisoft style. And then it got like kind of reworked and changed, and then the new developers came in and they were like, now we want you to be like a panther. We want you to be a panther now. You're going to attack. You're going to be, aggressive. You're no longer hiding in the shadows. You're going to be prowling amongst the enemies and look for your plan of attack. And that's kind of what they went with. You're a panther in Conviction. And I thought Conviction was great. And then,
I didn't talk about it, man, but I did reinstall that. Playing
oh, that one holds up better than most because it's 60 frames as well.
It's 60 frames and it's gorgeous. It still holds up, bro. And I love how they did the wording wherever you go. Like, it's just the presentation of that game. I know some people said it's not Splinter Cell, and I understand. But even as a Splinter Cell fan, I still have to go back now, and I look at that game and I'm like, damn, they were trying to make it original, and they were trying some new stuff, and it wasn't like, it didn't take away from the Splinter Cell feel. It's still Splinter Cell. They just added stuff. They added flavor to it, and I like it. I still, to this day, like it. I love it.
Yeah, Conviction is great.
But it's tough. That stealth is tough as fuck.
I've actually loved every mainstream Splinter Cell game that's come out, I thought the multiplayer was best in the Double Agent Chaos Theory era. Man, the multiplayer was so good, dude. It was like the epitome of just like teamwork and having fun and competitiveness, like the asymmetric gameplay, like strategizing and being able to talk shit when you grab somebody from behind, like they're doing in Call of Duty now, right? Yeah. Like as a spy, you go grab somebody from behind and you'd be able to talk shit to them. But then as a merc, you'd be able to do the same thing. Like if you knock them out and the spy's laying on the ground, there was so much fun. But they kind of got away from it a little bit. I can't wait to see what that game is. But I was with you. I was concerned about their overreaction to people complaining about this mode. And
it just hit me. I totally did not see any of your shit. That's funny that you had said that previous, because it just hit me now when we were talking about it. I'm like, oh fuck, that's right. Wait, this is Ubisoft. This is how they work. They'll analyze the hell out of Outlaws, and they'll see that most of the people, or a lot of people, had problems with the stealth, and they're like, oh, we're making a stealth game right now in Splinter Cell. Oh fuck, we can't do that. Like, I just see Yves and his experts, quote unquote, just saying that around a table with, like, it's just, oh god, please no, please don't let that happen. Right on point too, by the way, while you were talking about how much you love Double Agent and the multiplayer, Buzz jumps in there and goes, Double Agent completely changed the MP side of it too, and it sucked. Disappointing. I played so much Chaos Theory. That was while you were saying it, so it wasn't like he was responding to you now. He was just jumping in. Right on point. Somebody completely disagrees. Again, games.
No, like,
all
for me,
perspective.
Pandora Tomorrow kind of like started it, and then you had Chaos Theory that was like perfection in a lot of ways. They also had the co-op modes and everything, and then Double Agent had amazing multiplayer. But the issue is that a lot of the servers were just sucked ass. The servers were shit. But I had more. I don't know which platform you played Double Agent on, because it was a cross-gen. It was on Xbox and also Xbox 360.
360, because I didn't have the OG Xbox.
Yeah, I played on 360, and for me, the multiplayer was a blast. I can't speak to the Xbox version of it, but yeah, I had a blast with both of those. But after that, like Conviction, and after the Spies versus Mercs tailed off completely. Yep. But co-op was still strong. But not for modes and stuff, but not for the Spies versus Mercs mode.
Well, let's just hope that they don't do any of that, Mav. Let's hope they're too far along to even do that. The one and only boss, Mod, Lethal Papa, the man with the biggest stick in the community, and he swings it around, and he'll slap you across the face with it if you get out of line in these chats, so be careful. He's dropped in here. Thank you, Boss Mod, and he said PM and the PM needs to do a pro giveaway. Listen, that's why I did this to you, Boss Mod. No. No, boss mod, we ain't suggesting that kind of nonsense in this chat, all right? But anyways, thank you, boss mod. Appreciate you being in here. Poison Maniac jumped in here too as well. Always great to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. Nate Dog was lurking. He had to come in and laugh at me when I said that Yves, that fucker, needs to go. Shout out to Nate Dog. We got the Fuzzy Tomato in here. That's right, not the Fuzzy Belvedere. We got the Fuzzy Tomato jumping in here. Great to see you. He says the way the stealth looked is pretty much the only reason I didn't buy Outlaws, and that's perfectly fine. Some people just aren't in the stealth. I get it. Some people didn't like the looks of how the stealth actually, the AI, again, involved in Outlaws. There was some bad clips running around. Whether that's representative of the whole game or not, I can't speak to. Mav's talked enough about Outlaws, and he's told me his experience, and from what he's told me, it sounds like a normal stealth game. Sometimes it's shitty, and sometimes it really is.
And it's only some missions are like that too. It's like
there's some action missions. There's everything, right?
Yeah, this game mixes it up a lot. Like the no fail ones are the ones that people are having an issue with, which is what I appreciate the most, though. Like you got to go into like faction kind of headquarters territory and steal some shit, and like if you get caught, you get thrown out, right? And but like you instantly get to retry, and it's like a learning process kind of thing. I appreciate it. Like I like stuff like that personally, but it's not for everybody. But what Ubisoft has to realize is that people don't buy Star Wars Outlaws for a stealth game, so they're not necessarily anticipating that. But like, so don't judge the Splinter Cell audience based on the Star Wars Outlaws audience. Right. Different audiences.
Yep. Totally different audiences.
Yeah.
Gaper Grant 692. What is going on, brother? Great to see you dropping the 5 bomb in here. Says, Mav, your French Canadian is on point. LOL. Trust me, I have to listen to it all day, every day. So yeah, I told you did nice Yves, man. I give you shit about some of your accents, but man, the Yves is kind of good, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Jesus Christ. Lore Master Jasper, the action guy, did jump in here, Mav. Hey, Lore, real quick. We were talking about it before. If you got a chance, do you guys monitor Polaris up there, SpaceX, and their little walk? Do you guys monitor that for your program there, sir? I just wanted to know, just curious, because we talked about it in the opening of the show. Wearing my SpaceX shirt for that reason, Jasper. You will appreciate this, Jasper, as a fellow space nut. So just wanted to ask that question, sir. Anyways, let's take a look here. All right, man, we got the chat out of the way. Thank you all for being here. Danny Passion Officials in the house as always as well. Thank you, Danny Passion. He says, Ubisoft isn't what it used to be. Different people working there and different management. Yeah, unfortunately, the main management at the top is still the fucking same because it's the Guillermo family and they suck at video games, okay? I can't. Ubisoft should be one of the best publishers in the entire world. And like I said, they're my fast food go-to. Love their games. Again, I keep it separate, right? Just because I hate the upper management of Ubisoft. I hate the stuff that they put some of their devs through. We have firsthand knowledge of some shit that's gone down at Ubisoft, right? And it's awful. It's shitty. And they still haven't fixed it. So that part of it, I keep separate. The games, I can't, again, they're my fast food. Are they the greatest thing of all time? No. But do I go to them and just have a great time no matter what for the most part? Yeah. That's what Ubisoft gives me on most of their franchises. So I'm not going to lie and say I hate Ubisoft altogether and I don't play their games. No. I play the shit out of their games. But my God, Yves and the family needs to go. Who else is in here? Stubborn Cam is in the house. Since Space Marine 2 is fantastic, more and more people are jumping on the Space Marine 2 train. This is gonna have long legs, man. This one's gonna have long legs. There are gonna be people jumping into this game over time. It is freaking fantastic, man. We just talked about it. Jason Max, I see you in here. What's going on, Jason? Always shouting out Xbox is #1. Good for you, sir. Thank you for being a part of the show. All right, man, let's get into this, bro, because we got about an hour 40 left and we got some things to talk about here. So let's just hop into the main topic. So chat, as you probably saw the thumbnail, shout out to Caitlin. I haven't seen Caitlin in the chat tonight, but beautiful Miss Caitlin. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're having a fantastic week, my dear. And thank you again for the amazing thumbnail. Luxurious console gaming is here. That's right, everybody. If you were living under a rock, all the smoke was real. We got the PS5 Pro reveal, but Chad, I just got to say, We got so much with this reveal. And I've been being, if you're in this community enough, and if you just go search enough, you can find these pockets of this community that just are on a whole nother level with things, right? And it never changes. It's all across the board, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. We all know the parts of the community that are like this. But man, this week with the PlayStation 5 Pro announcement, and of course, the price tag of $700 for digital only, another $80 for a disc drive, another $30 if you want a plastic stand. So we're talking, again, I don't count the stand, but everybody else likes to count the stand in there. So again, $810 US. Then you go over to Europe, talking about $9,000, $1,100. Special Nick was counting in with tax, talking about $1,300 down in Australia. We're talking PC numbers here, guys. Again, I say that on purpose because that's part of the discussion this week. But then you find this part of the community that's just now it's not just a premium experience anymore. So if Chad, I'm speaking to those of you that pull into your driveway every night in your Ferrari, your Lamborghini, your Bentley, right? You pull into your mansion's driveway, you wait for the gates to open up. The gates have your initials on the outside. As you pull into your driveway, you get home from whatever you were doing all day, golfing, right? Smoking cigars with the boys, having a few drinks, counting the stock money that you just made today in the millions, right? You pull in that driveway, you get in the house, butler enters the door for you, greets you, good evening, sir or ma'am. Gets you settled in, feeds you. You go, God, it's time for playing some video games. You walk into this amazing custom theater with all the best sound, all the best visuals, right? Your AV is top of the line. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in AV, right? Best of the best, right? And you ask the butler to fire up your PS5, and he goes over to the PS5, and you look at that PS5 and you're like, God, man, it's just such a normal console. It's just a normal console. Yeah, they sold to me as the premium experience. It's been fun, but look at me. I live in luxury. That PS5 does not say luxury. If you're one of those people, Sony now has you covered because they came out with a PlayStation 5 with not one, not two, but 3 fucking racing stripes on it for you. They took out the disk drive. They beefed up the GPU. Added some little AI in there. Gave you PSSR. Nope, not USSR, as most of us Gen Xers know it. The former Russian state. Now, PSSR is the new code word. The big 3, according to Cerny. They give you all that. And some of that community over there is telling you that's the luxury console. Because people have a problem with the price point. And if you can't afford the price point, you just ain't ready to game on a luxury console. It's no longer a premium, folks. It's luxury now. And you little peasants out there, you just don't get it, man. You just don't get it. You got to be in luxury. So, that's where our thumbnail came from tonight. A little play on some of the nonsense. There's a whole lot more nonsense that this announcement has now brought out, as it's always wants to do during these times, Mav. It's something crazy. So yes, the PS5 Pro was announced. Real quick, I am going to, for anybody who may not have heard all the specifics real quick, read through the Forbes article from Paul Tassi, just to kind of give us a quick overview on this. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I think most people know it, but in case anybody in the chat or people listening in the future aren't quite up to date, the PS5 Pro reveals sky-high price and 2024 release date. This is from Paul Tassi, again, over at Forbes. Shout out to Paul. Mark Cerny just wrapped up his ASMR presentation of new features of the PS5 Pro, where if there was a technical top line, its ability to nudge fidelity and performance modes much closer together when it comes to detail versus frame rate choices that most games and players much chose between. But the main story is absolutely going to be the price, a stunning $700 on the high end of what most estimates imagined between $500 and $600. Don't know why you all thought that, but whatever. PS5 Slim is $500 with a disk drive and $450 without it. The PS5 Pro does not appear to have a disk drive, and it's $250 more than the base digital version. Update. It will work with the existing disc add-on for more money. Again, the $80 we talked about. It's a big ask, particularly if players have already spent hundreds of dollars on an existing PS5, though trade-in could make up some of that gap. A release date was also announced. It comes out 2 months from now on November 7th, 2024. Getting past the price shock, before that happens, Cerny detailed the main differences from the PS5, in which he called the big three. There's a larger GPU, 67% larger with 45% faster rendering. He said it was particularly effective in a game like Horizon Forbidden West with improved lighting and visual effects and better hair and skin. We'll update to that today as well. If for those of you that did not see it, Destin actually had Richard Ledbetter from Digital Foundry on. Mav, I did look up his name, by the way. I didn't just remember it. Old dad brain doesn't work that way. I was asking Mav in the background, everybody, what the bald head dude's from.
He's an old bald guy to me. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Richard.
Names. Richard. He actually had Richard on and asked him about this. He is claiming that the GPU for the PS5 Pro is now in line with the 4070. Again, we know the CPU, even us non-tech heads have read enough and heard enough from enough people. They didn't touch the CPU, which means that is going to be bottlenecked. But the GPU itself, they are saying is comparable to a 4070. Take it for what it's worth. Again, does that mean the same thing as a 47 in a PC with a great CPU? No, it doesn't. I know that much as well. But again, this is what we're talking about. It is a significant boost for the GPU. There's advanced ray tracing, Mav, which is double or sometimes triple the calculation speed of the PS5. He cited certain Gran Turismo 7 as now having the ability to have reflections in between cars while retaining 60 FPS, something that Forza Motorsport has been doing for a while now. Anyways, he also mentioned that Hogwarts Legacy has improved reflections and casting of shadows, a rare non-Sony exclusive mentioned, and they showed that one at 30 frames, which was weird. Anyways, then there is the AI-driven upscaling through a system known as PSSR, which increases detail going pixel by pixel. Again, same as DSS. Yeah, we all know the stuff, right? FSR, etc. All games featured were existing games that will benefit from the Pro upgrades, which will be added to them at some point. Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us 2, Forbidden West, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Hogwarts Legacy, GT7, Ratchet & Clank, and more. Though most being Sony games, there are obviously going to be many new games made with the PS5 Pro in mind, as those dev kits have been out forever. All games featured were existing games that will... already read that part. $700 for things like reflections between cars and GT7, or better Harry Potter shadows is a tall order for most, though the PS5 Pro was a small percentage of the PS4 player base. It's right around 13%, we found out. So obviously this kind of upgrade is not for everyone. The big factor here is GTA 6, allegedly coming out in 2025, and only on console, unless Microsoft rushes some sort of Xbox upgrade to release. The PS5 Pro will be the most powerful hardware and may play the game on it, as it is not coming to PC for a long time. For many, it might be worth the cost to have the maxed out experience of one of the biggest games ever made. Even at that price, it's tempting. We'll see how it goes. Not going to have that kind of effect for the masses. The masses don't give two shits. We've already found that out about any game. Anyways, that's the end. Thanks, Paul Tassi, for covering most of that stuff. I will add this as well. More games that were announced from third parties to offer PS5 Pro support right now, and there'll be more coming, obviously. Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ubisoft actually, in fact, put out their own post about that, which caught my eye. Demon Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel, Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank, The Crew Motorfest, The First Descendant will also be on that list, and The Last of Us 2. So again, that was a mix of both of them. So yeah, Matt, luxury gaming is here. This is what we're now being told. If you can't afford it, too bad, so sad. $700. I was trying to figure out how I was going to do this. If I was going to make my points, if we were going to do kind of back and forth, or if I was going to let you kind of go, because you kind of summarized your points on the Mavcast, obviously, kind of talking through it with everybody. So, like, I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with a lot of your points, Mav, in fact. But overall, in general, Mav, let's just talk about the overall reaction. This has been mostly negative. Let's be real here. Okay, whether you agree or not, it has been mostly negative. The YouTube channel mostly negative, downvotes, more downvotes than upvotes, for sure. People have been keeping track of that as well. $700 is unheard of when it comes to console gaming. This goes back to
PS3,
the 3DO days and that kind of stuff, when we saw consoles come out that were just way up and beyond anything else. They are improving things for the PS5 Pro, there's no doubt. But obviously, to a lot of people, for varying reasons, it's not enough to justify a $700 price point. So, man, just in general, like the reaction. Obviously, you're going to have the Sony Defense Force out. The SDF is always going to be out there. We talked about this previous map to all of this happening. That again, we all consider this an enthusiast console. We said that from the beginning, that this was meant to sell to their hardcore, to their Sony only console player fans. This is not meant to appeal to everybody. This was not meant to all of a sudden bring people over who were Xbox only players or Nintendo only players and have them go drop big money to get into Sony. This was not that type of system from the get-go. This is about them making a profit on the players who are going to show up day and date for all their games, to show up day and date for all their hardware, all those people that went out and dropped 250 bones on the PS Portal and say it's the greatest goddamn thing ever, and there's no doubt that thing has sold more than I ever thought it would. They're talking about how it's selling. So there are these people, this group of people out there that are willing to buy into now not just a premium experience, but a luxurious gaming console experience, Mav, with the PS5 Pro. But that's what this is for. So I get like the outrage myself, but what do you think about all this, Mav? The overall kind of talk around this console. What do you think this does going for Sony forward? Does it hurt them? Do they just move on and keep doing their thing, and it just kind of all goes underneath by the wayside once GTA 6 happens, or what? What do you think?
Yeah, I think overall it's mainly the way it's presented and the price that's the shock for most people. And this fits in line with everything we've been talking about for a long time now. Is like the PlayStation roadmap is still vacant for as far as them letting us know what's coming down the road and giving us big games to be excited for in that regard. And that kind of is a weird way to announce new hardware is without having this big kind of showcase to like celebrate it for, hey, this is not only do you have all of these other games, right, but you have all this awesome stuff to look forward to that's going to take full advantage of this. And that's usually how we're used to seeing these things get revealed. But we speculated a lot. Are they ready? Do they have anything like that to show? And apparently, I guess they don't yet. So we have a hardware that really has no big, exciting pipeline ready to be announced yet for it to generate excitement about it. So that's one aspect, because you're basically marketing it with old games, and that isn't necessarily going to move the excitement factor for a lot of people to get their juices flowing to spend what is a large amount of money, more than there's usually being asked for. Now, we had speculated a lot on the price. We went anywhere between $600 to $800, right? And depending on what it had. And this falls kind of in line with a lot of our speculation as far as what we expected on a price for a premium enthusiast upgrade console, especially with the fact that the existing consoles have not gone down in price. They've actually went up in price, right? So as far as the market goes with what the pricing is, when we were speculating on the pricing of these things, it was going to be anywhere between that $600 to $800. The fact that it's $7 is more or less because it has the 2 terabyte hard drive. If they were going with the different tiers and stuff, I think maybe they could have went with 2 options, right? For the Pro, had a disc version and then had a digital version. Put the digital version with the 2 terabyte, have the disc version with the 1 terabyte, right? I think that would have like been a little bit more palatable for some people, but having a lot of the PlayStation gamers saying, well, now I got to get this, and then I got to get the disc drive, because they can't just easily upgrade their disc PS5 collection to a PS5 Pro digital without getting that add-on. So if you're a physical gamer, that adds to that. So really, if you're doing PS5 and you play physical games, you're needing to upgrade that as well. So your cost isn't just $700, it's $780. And then if you want it to sit properly vertically, you need to buy the stand, which is another $30. So that takes it to $810, right? Which is like kind of like, wow, like apples to apples, the original PS5 had all those things, right? Had the disc drive, had that for $500. So now this is comparatively to what they asked at launch of regular PS5 to what it would cost to have the same experience, you're $310 more, right? So that's a lot to ask as far as like a gap goes. So then it comes down to, who is it? Well, as far as the benefits, I think Mark Cerny is like a genius as well. I think he knows how to build great hardware. I think he is a big reason also why PlayStation has success with their hardware for a long time. But like the presentation wise and showcasing the benefits, it didn't really hit, but because you don't have those games really to show. And we kind of nailed it when we were speculating how they were going to show this thing off. Like it was going to be with like, oh, look at this super zoomed in picture of the background of this game, and then compare it to the super zoomed in background of the same game, and it's a little bit clearer here. And in motion, a lot of these games, it's hard to pick apart the differences. So like showcasing wise, it was kind of hard to see the justification benefit price wise that I think is going to sell people on the price immediately. So I think that a lot of the negativity comes from the way it was announced, right? Without that roadmap and without that clear justification benefit, right? However, as I said on my stream yesterday, if I was, or was it Tuesday? I don't remember. Whatever day I did. If I was all in on the PlayStation ecosystem, right? If that's the place I played, if that's where I played all of my third-party games, if that's where I own a PlayStation, that's what I do, right? Then personally, if I felt like I wanted to go spend the money on it, I would feel justified only in the fact that I want all my games to play the best way possible, right? And I think that regardless of how they presented it, this will have benefits and play the games best on PlayStation as opposed to the other ones and going forward. And that's just easy to see for the specs. I mean, it's just is what it is. The GPU is going to be more powerful, and that's going to have some benefits. And I think the developers over the next few years are going to take advantage of that. Ultimately, the games are going to be optimized for the PS5, right? As the core baseline for the optimization for PlayStation. And then what's going to happen is the PS5 Pro owners get an enhanced or better version of that, either it being frame rate or resolution for still getting the 60 frames or whatever. So if you're an enthusiast and you have like cash to blow and you're not trying to like save every dollar or whatever, I mean, you don't need it. This is not a need thing, right? This is a want thing. This is like, I want the best experience possible because I'm willing to pay for it type thing, right? And for that, if you're a PlayStation gamer and you say you want all of your third-party games going forward to play the best, and you want all your Sony games to play the best, and you want probably some updates in some of your existing library, if you want to spend the money, I have no reason to say, hey, you shouldn't do it. It's just up to the person and individual voting with their wallet. I will say that if this was Xbox, I would be day one. I would cringe at the price. I would have a hard time swallowing the price. I'm a digital gamer, first off, right? I don't got to worry about the disk drive and stuff. I like the fact that it has 2 terabytes. And I would see enough justification on my library coming up, playing all those games better, that I would feel that my experience would be worth the price, not necessarily the box itself, if that makes sense. It's about valuing how you're spending your time and all that stuff. And that's going to be up to the individual consumers, right? So, but yeah, I'm not going to lie. If it was an Xbox, despite the shitty presentation, because first off, if Xbox did it, they would have a lot of games to showcase and talk about because they actually have a roadmap, right? And they also have the Game Pass effect with everything that I know is coming there as well. So if this was Xbox, I would be like, yeah, I would be very interested day and date for $700 for something that I know is going to play my entire library and all the games upcoming in the next couple years that I know is stacked for Xbox better than everything else. Yeah, I would get it because I always want the best experience possible, right? I'm that sucker that they're looking for, right? And PlayStation's going to have those suckers too. They are. They're going to have those people that are willing to spend the extra money to go out and have the best experience possible, but it's not a necessity. It's a want, and it's only going to be for a small percentage of the gamers.
Luxury gamers.
It's the luxury. It's what we thought was going to migrate, like console gaming was going to migrate to. We talked about this like a long time ago. The key difference between this generation and last is the pricing in the market with the inflation, the economy, everything that's going on that has sustained the pricing for console gaming, where they haven't been able to actually drop the prices this generation whatsoever. They actually had price increases and changing things in their boxes. That changed the pricing of what this upgrade was going to be. Early when we had speculation of was it going to be mid-gen refreshes, back then we were thinking traditionally, after a few years, the consoles go down in price and then the pro models come out or mid-gen comes out and it's either around the same as the launch price or maybe slightly more, right? But that's just not what happened with the economy, with the prices of all the components and all these things in these boxes. So now if you have this mid-gen refresh, it's not replacing the pricing that it was before because that price is still the same. Now you actually have something that is egregiously expensive for a console with all the bells and whistles now at $810. But it's going to be up to the individual person. If you're a console gamer, you primarily play on PlayStation, you got the money to blow, and you say that's where you want to play. Hey, I'm not here to criticize you if you want to buy it, right?
No pocket watching for sure. No. Do what you want to do. Again, you got to vote with your wallet. I think pretty much Matt and I think Matt would agree. Like we're talking pretty much primarily about the U.S. prices because if we want to get into the UK and the Australian stuff, listen,
I can only speak to like my experience or what I see here.
Listen, overall, I think there's a lot of overreaction here. Now, again, with the UK, with the rest of the world pricing that I have seen, the translation, and it's all confirmed. You're spending $900 to $1,300 on a PS5 Pro. I said in the DMs that if I was in one of those areas, right, even if I was a PlayStation only player, right, even if I was a console only gamer who swore off PC gaming, if they did that to me in one of those regions and I started looking at those prices, me personally, I would legit go back on my swearing off of PC and I would start looking at a PC at that point for that. That is like a line where I'm like, ooh, yeah, no, No, I can't justify that. Now, 700 here, I will still say for me personally is ridiculous. Okay, it's a ridiculous price point. But I also understand what Mav was just explaining, because we've talked about this, and this was one of my points leading up to this. This was been one of my points for a lot of things that we've talked about this generation, how different this generation is than all the other generations previously for a huge variety of different reasons, but one of them being the price points. One of them being the fact that 4 years in, we have not had price decreases. In fact, we've had price increases in different parts of the world. That is completely different than every other generation that I can remember out of video game consoles. And so that's why I never was on board with these people going, oh, you all are nuts. It's not going to be $700. They're never going to charge more than $600 for this thing. Like, it'll probably be like $550. Like, there was legit people out here getting upset at anybody who said it was going to be more than $600. And I'm going, but how does that make any sense when they haven't dropped any of these prices and they've raised these prices elsewhere? Like, that doesn't fall in line with what Sony's about, unless it's a very incremental upgrade. You're talking about this, and this was before we even knew that they threw that they were going to throw 2 terabytes in it. We just saw Xbox throw out their 2 terabyte upgrade, right? It cost an extra $100. I know people in the Xbox community who have been eating up the new Xbox, the Series X, for $600 with just a 2 terabyte. No updates to the hardware. So when I see this outrage at the price point, like, I get it, and you should definitely speak with your wallets, and consumers need to speak up at this point. If it is too much for you, then don't go buy it. But this is not replacing the PS5, right? This is not replacing the digital only. This is not replacing it. Those things are still going to exist. So for me, a lot of the outrage is way overblown, right? I understand the sticker price shock up front, but I'm being real. People should have saw this coming.
Yeah.
They should have. And again, when the 2 terabyte got confirmed, I was like, well, shit, that even makes more sense. Because then you're talking about, again, Xbox has dropped their same console with an extra gig. Yes, it still has a disk drive. I understand. I'm not taking that away. That is, to me, kind of, that's where I get to go, okay, well, that's a little much here, charging $80 extra for a disk drive, when you know a lot of your people have physical discs still. But it's their right to do that. But again, when I saw the Xbox Series X at $600, I'm like, well, okay. And then I started hearing about the upgrades. Now, for me, Mav, like you were saying, I am in total agreement with you. If I was a PlayStation only player in the US, and that's what I lived by, was my console, lived and died by my console. And I had gotten used to playing games in the performance mode. And we're going to talk about this performance mode thing. We're going to talk about that part of the Cerny thing specifically, because that was an eye-opener. And I want people to hear, or at least understand, because a lot of people missed that, or a lot of people forgot about this port of the presentation, which did suck, by the way. Cerny sucks. Again, he's a genius, but I don't know why people get excited for any of this stuff.
They did a horrible job showcing.
Every time I've watched him, he is one of those 2 genius guys that when he talks to you, it sounds like not also to mention the fact that he does look exactly like Dana Carvey, and that he has this awful voice to him that I can't stand. But when he talks, he's so genius. He's one of those geniuses who doesn't know how to talk to normal people. And so whenever he talks, it comes off as very condescending, almost like he knows he's talking to people that aren't as smart as him. It doesn't come off. I just don't like his presentations. I've never thought they were great. Second of all, trying to show that off with YouTube compression with the games that they chose was terrible in the second place. Yeah. Third, not having a single new game there to like wow everybody to say, holy shit, this is going to be ready to rock and roll with the PS5 Pro or soon thereafter, right? Strange. Is another mistake, right? It was just weird. But I think that if I was that PS5 only player, that I would, like Mav was saying, at this point, now back in the day, I didn't agree with mid-gen refreshes, but at this point with the 60 frames thing, right? The idea that even if, and we talk about that a little bit, Tom Warren is saying not every game's going to be 60 frames, and there's lots of different things that kind of show that that's a possibility, right? But the idea that I would get more games that ran at 60 frames consistently at a higher resolution for my 4K OLED with their PSSR. Now that I've experienced FSR, right? I haven't experienced DLSS, but I've experienced FSR, and I know that AMD doesn't do it as well as NVIDIA. I get that, but their new FSR 3 I have on a couple of the games that I've played on PC, and it's actually pretty fucking good. It's like it's gotten rid of a lot of the problems FSR had. And again, I'm not that guy who picks out each individual pixel anyway. But for me, that would be enough to convince me at this point in my gaming career to say, okay, so if I trade this in, let's say I get 300, 350, so then I just drop in 350 to upgrade 400, 500, let's call it 450 with tax. I would say yes, I would do that, right? I would do that, Mav. Like, I think I would go that route. I'd be happy with my purchase. Now, it's not going to be for everybody. They've come out, analysts have said Sony's probably expecting to sell around the same percentage as the PS4 Pro, which was 13% of the total base. 13%. I think that they're probably even thinking less on this.
Yeah.
So again,
well, the price point's going to cause it to be less just based on that. Right?
Based on that alone. Yeah, correct. But that's what I said from the beginning. When we talked about this, I said they're not expecting to sell boatloads of this console. They want to make profit.
This
and so for me,
replacement.
No, it's not a replacement. They're not forcing everybody to go buy a $700 console right now. This is the same concept. I want to get into this map. We'll just hop right in the next because we got a lot to talk to. This is a massively layered thing because I want to get to Keeley. I want to get to a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of things have been exposed again, as always, that people tell on themselves constantly around here when this big news happens. Again, this should be celebrated. Mav and I have been talking about this all year. We talked about this last year, that we were going to have console news this year. We thought we might get the Switch 2 news this year, which it doesn't sound like we're going to get. But new console releases are always exciting, and that includes mid-gen refreshes. Like, overall, I'm excited about some of the stuff that they did talk about, and we're going to get into that. But
it was one thing specifically.
Yeah, one thing specifically for sure. But let's get into this part of it, Mav, right? So where was I just gonna go? Holy shit, I just lost it all. God, I talk too much sometimes, and it's end of day, and what was I just saying, Mav? Right before I got on that spiel, what was I saying?
There was multiple things that we're gonna get into, and
before that, what did I say? Hold on.
My memory lasts about 5 seconds, so. We were talking about the
yeah. It doesn't matter. We'll just get into it. So we'll just hop into it. Sorry,
Keeley, and then some other things.
Yeah, I know, because there's tons of layers to this thing, right? So, but let's get into the one thing we do both want to touch on here, right? As we've talked about with this generation, and where things were headed and what we thought was going to happen. Oh, this is what I want to talk about real quick, man. This kind of falls in line in my thinking, and I'm going to tell you why I think this is a good thing in a lot of ways for Xbox, that this happened. And it might not be the way that you think it's going to go, guys, but I'll get to it in a second here. But this $700 price point, Mav, this is starting to feel, Mav, like, I understand this is traditional for Sony, right? That this is, they're just following the same thing that they kind of did with the PS4, right? It makes sense. But it almost feels like with the $700 price point, that we started to get into that cycle, map that we talked about, that is more in line with cell phones, right?
Yeah.
Or more in line with PC, right? With upgrades to GPUs, right? Whether they're optional, people stay on the old hardware, continue to play games, just downgraded game version of the same games, but you all can play the same games, right? No matter what kind of card you got, up to a certain point, obviously. But there's a wide range. Or cell phones, they all perform exactly the same, basically all running the same shit, right? It's just whether or not you want to upgrade to the latest and greatest. Might be a little bit faster, might be a little bit better display, a little bit better camera, right? That kind of stuff. We're starting to get to that point. This feels like we are now on the cusp of that type of situation. And so for the $700 price point, this is why I think it's good for Xbox here, Matt. I think this breaks the ice, right? Because we talked about the next Xbox being the enthusiast console. Right now, I think both are in agreement that we think they're going to have a handheld and they're going to have at least one box, right? Hardware wise, for the next gen. And this is supposed to be the biggest leap in generation history, according to Sarah Bond multiple times. We've discussed the hybrid, we've discussed the AI, we've discussed all that. This breaks that ice, Matt, at $700 price point for Xbox. Because we both believe that the next Xbox, whether it's a handheld, the box, or both, are going to be more expensive than what we currently are used to. Sony kind of just did it for them. Like, they just said, okay, because they launched this thing, which is a upgraded PS5, but it's not like massively upgraded. Again, CPU hasn't changed. They added the extra terabyte of storage, bumped the GPU for sure, gave it this AI, this PSSR, etc., but not a huge leap. When Xbox does announce their next console for next gen, Mav, which we all assume is going to be before the PS6 is announced, they will be able to come out and give a price point of 600, 700 and show off this generational leap with all kind of new tech in it that potentially could blow the PS5 Pro out of the water. And all of a sudden that price point isn't going to be so, like, it's not going to hit so hard when it's announced, right, Mav?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean,
Sony kind of did them a favor here, that we're kind of starting into that mode where we might see more regular updates, or maybe we have more than one box because we still have an entry-level box at some point, but people can stay on Series X if they want to and still play the games, but come forward if the new gen...
I think
it seems like we're there.
I think traditional, like, just we've had this discussion a lot, is just the traditional idea of generations is just gone. Like,
yeah,
when you can play every Xbox One game on Series X and S at launch, right? If you owned it digitally, or you have the disc, it just works, right? The only ones that didn't pretty much was like the Kinect games, right? So when you have this generation already, where it's taking all your games with you and moving them forward, and then they continue to support and release games on the older hardware for a few years, right? And still, for a lot of third parties, are still supporting those consoles and stuff as well for their cross-generational games and stuff. That is just changed the dynamic of what console gaming is, right? There wasn't a clear cutoff. There still isn't a clear cutoff, right? And that's going to continue to be a thing because these ecosystems are just going to keep migrating forward with you to the future hardware, and you're going to be a part of the ecosystem, whether you're on the Xbox One, which some people may still currently have an Xbox One, or the Series X or S, or the handheld that they come out with, or if you're a PC gamer, or you're a mobile gamer, or you're playing on the cloud, or you get the next gen hardware that eventually comes out as well, which will, as they should, because of forward compatibility, which they're making a huge focus on, which we've used that word a lot even before Xbox actually spoke that into existence in one of their last conversations about gaming. Though it's expected that your library is going to come along with you. This has always been my preaching of one of the advantages of digital, right? Is that your games will go with you. They get updated. They're just there, right? And overall, that's kind of what we are. And it's going to be what you're willing to pay for the best experience possible. And if that didn't matter, then there would never be generations in the first place. So, yeah, there are going to be next generation consoles. The difference is that everything comes along for the ride. And because there's still going to be a lot of people that own older hardware, those are still going to be supported for a long time as well. But that changes the game a little bit for these console manufacturers and everything based on what they're trying to do for the consumers. It's not just about, hey, we have to have this cutoff point, and so we have to have this device out there that sells like 100 million consoles, otherwise we can't make it, because they're the only people that are going to be able to buy our product. Instead, now it's, hey, this is the console gamer that is still staying true to console, the market that loves console gaming. Now we are focusing more on developing and creating the best hardware possible for those gamers and having multiple options for them of access.
Correct. Yep.
And that is what we envisioned years and years ago, talking on this channel about what was going to happen with the future of gaming, and that's the mid-gen refreshes last generation were kind of the first step into that. Going into now, we have, you know, the current generation where you had two models at launch for Xbox, and then going into, are they going to have a handheld, or what's going to happen for the next gen? And yeah, I'm going to tell you guys, based on the price of what it costs to make decent hardware now, the fact that these companies aren't willing to take massive losses on the hardware anymore because they don't need to, because they have player bases that are also playing in other places as well. The next consoles are going to be probably more expensive. And it's not because Xbox left the console market. It's not because of any other reason. It's not because of that. It's because access has become something to more and more gamers, to where it's less reliant solely on console, and PlayStation is trying to do the same thing. So while PlayStation has that market still, they're still got to try and make as much money as they possibly can in that same space to be able to justify the manufacturing and selling of those products. And they're going to keep selling it over and over again to the same users that are willing to buy it. So if you are somebody that doesn't like it, don't buy it. And if they don't have enough of a user base for it, they'll kill it like they did the PSVR 2. Right?
Yeah.
Like that eventually,
or they'll reduce it.
Or they'll reduce it and lower the price and try and get more people. Right? But like ultimately they're trying to expand their user base beyond just the PlayStation as well. They're trying to go to PC more. And you're going to see them evolve as they get better with all that stuff. You'll see more games go day and date to PC. You'll see them finally get their mobile thing off the ground. You'll see eventually a PC storefront open up for PlayStation, and all these other kind of things are going to happen, right? But you're going to see it slower than Xbox did because they were ahead of the game on that stuff, right? So overall, yeah, as console gamers, as console enthusiasts, if you're going to maintain being a console gamer and a console enthusiast, well, guess what? I got news to share for you. You're going to have more options, but you're also going to pay more for the higher end. And that's going to be something that is just going to be up to you to decide. And if you say, well, you know, at least we have people like Nintendo. Well, let me tell you what, on hardware, there is nobody ripping you off more on hardware than the most beloved company out there in Nintendo, which is making a killing on every piece of hardware being sold, because that device is worth way less than what they're actually selling it for.
Nintendo more than Xbox. That's what my point was to Mav in the background before we started the show. I'm like, if all these people want to blame Xbox for not being competitive and that's why PlayStation can go do whatever they want to, you better all start fucking blaming Nintendo and the fan base and all of you that own Switches, because you've all been overpaying by $200 for nearly a decade on that hardware. And of course, PlayStation and Xbox are going, why the hell are we still in the old model of losing money on our hardware? Look at these dudes over here. Hell, what? Nobody even says a peep. The fact that they're buying a decade-old cell phone technology off the shelf. Cell phone technology, by the way, like the leftover off the shelf cell phone technology. And and Nintendo's never dropped the fucking price. They slapped an OLED on there for them. Oh, cool. Cheap ass OLEDs too. And these people just lap it on up.
Yeah.
Without any complaints. Bro, of course, eventually PlayStation and Xbox are going to go, you know what? Like Matt said, we've got people buying our software, which we make the most money on, elsewhere. We have now expanded our bases elsewhere, outside of just the console market. Maybe it's time we stop taking losses on consoles all the time.
You know why? It's because they don't need to now.
Right, they don't have to anymore.
Yeah, so like they're strong. Like they are so strong with all their stuff that they don't have to do that. PlayStation said this generation that they're done with that, right? Nintendo's been done with that for a long ass time, right? So they're just kind of saying, all right, well, you know, we're gonna sell the consoles to the enthusiasts and the people that want the consoles, and we're gonna continue to offer those. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of us that still buy consoles. Now, we don't have to like the price. We can vote with our wallets, and hopefully if they take too much advantage or we think the prices are too egregious, you know, you make your own personal decision and they're going to dictate the market based on that, right? But ultimately, it's going to be up to the individual person. But the good news is there'll be more options for you for access than ever before, right?
And that's got to be the hope, right, Matt? That is the one thing I will say about this. If we're moving to this new kind of setup, right, where we don't really have, yes, we're going to have like a generation, obviously. They're going to start a new generation, but after that, like it even gets murkier and they start having upgrades, or maybe we do get eventually to the point where
it's already that with all these different devices kind of coming out that are kind of being console hybrid almost, like devices and stuff.
They do just have to have a hardware. They have to have entry level hardware still. And so I don't want it to be next gen. As much as I talk about the enthusiast side of things and how I think that's where it's going, and it's obviously we're already there with the PS5 Pro. I don't want it to get to the point where the PS5 Pro is just the only thing that's offered next gen, right?
Yeah.
Or something similar to that. I want other people to be able to buy in.
Right. They're gonna have
at a lower
cheaper
level
option.
Right. Cheaper option with less bells and whistles.
This generation that.
Right. Exactly. But that's what I need have happen. And again, a lot of people blame the Series S for everything, right? It's the devs. But again, Xbox is going to try to nullify all of that, I believe, with their hybrid system, with their AI, with what they're doing going forward. I think they're going to try to nullify all that. Again, I've said it on record. We'll see if it comes true. I think that they're going to try to get to a point where and I think this is coming sooner than later. I think it could be next gen, where the developers only have to develop one version of a game, and it plays across all of their different devices and platforms.
They would love that.
They would love that, bro. And I think that eventually they're going to get to the building of that in the cloud. And so, anyways, be that as may, we talked about all that. I just really think that this helps break the ice for Xbox overall. The $700 price point from Sony, as much as ridicule and pushback as it's getting. And again, for those people elsewhere in the world where we are talking $900, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 for this system, you guys got to know it doesn't matter if Xbox is in competition. That's long done, gone, and over with. You can hope for it. It's not happening. Okay, this is not the same system. It's up to the consumers. The consumers are the ultimate decision makers for these companies. Those of you in those parts of the world, if that is freaking completely, again, I'm not going to talk about you. If you go buy it. But I'm saying for the people out there that are living over there that are going, God, I really want that, but holy shit, that's really going to put me in a bind. Like, that's a ridiculous price point. You got to stop the FOMO and withhold yourself and try to make this the biggest flop that PlayStation's ever had, especially in those markets where they are dominant. If they don't sell shit in those markets, they're going to reduce those prices. They are taking advantage of all you over there, right? 100%. They are. 1,000%.
But that's not because the Xbox isn't offered over there either. Like,
not
so people,
not
the people are
a
lot of people are blaming the Xbox.
Some of it is, but again, that's neither here nor there, man. It doesn't matter.
But that's not necessarily because Xbox doesn't have. So I would say that
Sony would try the shit no matter what.
Exactly. If you have a problem with the pricing, which I think it's expensive too, right? But especially in those places, and you say, well, I want to vote with my wallet. Okay, well, don't buy it. Just continue playing on your PS5, or actually open your eyes to the value that is in the Xbox ecosystem and vote with your wallet that way. Because you have Game Pass, you have Xbox Series X, you have Xbox Series S. They have options for you. They still exist. Guess what? Hey, you can go out and buy a Series X or a Series S today. You can get Game Pass today. You can play on PC via the cloud if you want to, or mobile via the cloud. There's lots of access points for you in that ecosystem. And if you are somebody that has problem with paying for that, or you have a problem with what PlayStation's doing, open your eyes to the other value options that are out there and some of the other games, because in those markets where they're being taken advantage of, guess what? A large part of it is because they purposefully just ignore Xbox. They don't give a shit about it, right? Now, we could say that's Xbox's fault for marketing or not being as aggressive enough, but like, it's just a culture thing as well at some point where there's people like, hey, this doesn't matter, you know? So at some point, if somebody's giving you so much value that it just completely destroys the proposition and the pricing that the competition is going, how about you start to pay attention to that and speak with your wallets that way as well? right? Unless you're just zero interest in the Xbox ecosystem, and you're just all sold in on PlayStation because of your interest level, and that's what they sold you, and you're all bought in. Well, that's the reason why it's the price that it is.
Right.
They got you.
Right. And again, I don't agree with it. I think it's ridiculous. Like I said, I'd be looking else, even if I was a console only player, no matter what. Like Shane G said, he'll never go PC. Like, even if I was that person, like over there, like I absolutely would be looking, because I would be like, screw this.
Yeah. Just the thing is, like, the couch experience with playing on a couch and in a big screen TV. Like, a lot of people say, well, just put a PC on your TV.
It does
it does, but for a lot of us, it's not a practical thing. You know what I mean?
I understand, and it's still not great. I've told you all. I still play on my Series X for that reason, because it isn't the most convenient shit in the world, even though I have it right here. Right, it's right next to my TV, like it's right here. It's still a pain because I got to use the keyboard for the beginning parts of a lot of games. They're not all controller supported, right? All that kind of shit. I'm planning on getting a keyboard set up for the couch, but no, you're absolutely correct, man. And I understand why people would want to remain console. Until just last year, I was a console only player and have been, and I'm one of those dudes. I love it, even though I knew I wasn't getting the best performance, right? Even though I knew that PCs outperform the console, I still didn't care, right? And I still don't in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Like, again, the convenience factor is too great. I love consoles. That's why I said next generation, even though I have a more than capable PC, I will buy an Xbox console if they are going to give me some compelling reasons to do so, which I believe they are going to do. I love their ecosystem, and I want to remain in it, and I can do that through PC, but I also want the box. And like I said, they might even compel me to get the handheld if it all is seamless. So I still think there is reasons, and I totally get why people would still do it, and that's why I said I'm not going to pocket watch anybody. But I'm just saying, if you are on the fence and you're one of those people that are like, dude, they are just raking us over the coals, like this is stupid, then stay out. Then stay on your regular PS5 and just hang on to it. Damn God 75, I saw you throw in the chat real quick that 37 Ti Pong, not 4070. I'm assuming you're a little bit behind. If you didn't know, Destin had Richard Ledbetter from Digital Foundry on today and did an interview with him. You can go see the clips. Richard said today with Destin that now that they've looked at the GPU, it is on par with a 4070. So I know originally they had said that they thought it was around a 3070 Ti or whatever the case may be. But today Richard Ledbetter said a 4070. So he did say that with Destin. That's why I said it today, because it is out there. So,
But can I get to some super chats real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah. Sorry if we missed some. I apologize.
Yeah, no, you're good. Cod Emperor Sofa King member for 14 months said they're full of it. AMD and NVIDIA are not equal. Yeah, I think that it's just more of a comparison for what is more like knowledgeable for the fan base. Because if you say like what 7800 or something like that, people are gonna be like, I don't get it.
7800 XD, which is one of the original things that people were saying too as well. Yeah, Richard also explained too, though, in that clip too, Mav, that it's because of the custom tool set that they have there, the custom stuff, that is more NVIDIA like. But it's being made by AMD. But he said that's more like an NVIDIA set that you would see on their chips than it is an AMD like setup. Like that's why he was mentioning in the 4070 and the NVIDIA side, because that's what it feels like to him because of what they're doing with the custom shit. Right. Which AMD doesn't currently have. Right. Some of it AMD just doesn't have.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting on the next gen consoles. We're gonna see more of this kind of stuff maybe. Alvin, member for 2 years. Awesome, man. It seems that the amount of time some of you guys have been members just absolutely blows my mind. With a $5 super chat, says, gave my PS5 to my niece and nephew 6 weeks ago when they said they were still on PS4. If the state of play can sell me, I'll snag a Pro, but I'm skeptical. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for, is something to get excited about. Nothing that they showed me got me excited, right? But because I'm more playing PlayStation for the exclusives that I'm interested in, not for all the third-party stuff, right? Sure. And even with the upgrades, I would rather buy all my games in the Xbox ecosystem just because that's my main place to play. Either that or Steam. I don't want to have a bunch of random third parties in my PS library collection. You know what I mean? Because like, I have to go there to play that, but I kind of like stacking my library all in one place, right? So it would take showcasing some awesome stuff on some of these PlayStation exclusives to get me personally excited for a PS5 Pro. But that's what they have failed to show so far. So for me personally, I can't justify myself buying it yet. But for all the third parties and all the other stuff, if I was only a PlayStation gamer, I could see getting it 100%.
Undoubtedly, because again, stuff like Cyberpunk, I can't wait to see Cyberpunk. I know Cyberpunk's going to be one of the ones they show off at whenever their showcase is. Like that will be dope. And somebody in our chat earlier said that, I think it was Nate Dogg, that Detective Seeds had said that he believes that there's now going to be a PSX. Again, this is all guesswork, whatever. But PSX, if they're going to bring back the PSX, for anybody who doesn't know, PSX was PlayStation Experience back in the day. That was like their showcase. Those were the ones they used to have in the theaters. You could go to the movie theater and watch them. I actually did that a couple times back in the day for PS4. It was super dope. But they haven't had a PSX for a long ass time. If they're going to bring that back and specifically show off something in December, that's cool. But I think that whatever that next show is, and I know that obviously that Grub and stuff is still saying at end of September, we're going to have a third party show. Cyberpunk's going to be showing off at some point. Cyberpunk, if that shows up and looks anywhere as close to any high end PC, like that would be a seller as well when people see that. Again, it's not going to have the same level of ray tracing. It's not going to meet all of those qualifications. And this whole narrative of that games are going to be 4K 60. Okay, people need to stop. Native 4K 60 is not going to happen on every game. Okay, a lot of what they're talking about is upscaled 4K. Okay, trust me. Again, not the tech guy, but now that I have a PC, now that I have the PC and I know what these settings do, and I know what the upscaling does, and I know the difference between native and the other things because I can play around the settings. Like again, it's different. Right? It's different, and the PS5 Pro is going to give you some of those options that maybe a lot of consoles nowadays don't, but you ain't getting native 4K 60 on all these freaking games, bro. No, it's going to be upscaled. So let's cut the crap. And the 8K on GT, I was like, okay. Anyways, I hope you all got 8K TVs, by the way, which you don't. Anyways, or 8K monitors, which you don't.
The selling of the 8K mode for GT7 is funny. Like GT7 is one I want to see more of the benefits for and stuff because but so far like what they showed me, just the ray tracing stuff isn't enough to.
No, Jesse, and I'm not saying I don't downplay the fact that they could not get it to look close to a high-end PC. I'm not talking about the full NVIDIA 4090, okay? I'm not talking about with the path ray tracing. I'm not talking to all that. I'm just talking about, generally speaking, if it starts to look anywhere near the high end, even the mid-range stuff, right? Because Cyberpunk is already beautiful on the Series X and PlayStation 5. It's freaking amazing. They've done a lot of work. If the Pro tops it off on that, I'm just saying that that's one of those third-party games that will show things off very well. And you could see a side-by-side comparison like they did with the PC versions where you can actually notice the difference on screen. And I think that that's probably what they're going to bring out. I'm not saying it's going to be up there with the 4090 path ray tracing, all that, the realistic mods that people now have for Cyber. I'm not saying any of that shit. I'm just saying, generally speaking, if they could pull something close, it's going to be cool to see.
Yeah.
But
it'll be just interesting, more or less, just to kind of see like what the games actually look like and the performance and all that stuff over time. And we're going to get more information on the new games. It's not the old games really that I'm that excited about, because most of the games they showcased were running at 60 frames anyway with good performance modes. Like a lot of them already had good performance modes with that look good fidelity and resolution. You know what I mean? So I was like, I didn't really get the selling point on a lot of those games. The one that they talked about that made the most sense that was third party was Hogwarts Legacy, but then they decided to show that in 30 frames. So that was like the one game they could have really done a great job. So saying Hogwarts Legacy running at a smooth 60 frames with the same fidelity as the fidelity mode now, you know, that'd have been like, okay, well, that's something that's a benefit, right? Because that was one of the games that didn't really have a great performance mode with resolution, you know?
Right. And they did say multiple times throughout the presentation, certainly targeting, right? There's going to be a lot of targeting. Again, they didn't say locked on a lot of this stuff. They said targeting, like, And yeah, Xbox gamers, so the Xbox is going to beat the PS6 launch by 2 to 3 years. We believe it currently will. We believe that they are aiming for 2026, end of 2026. And with the PS5 Pro now out in the wild, yeah, I mean, we could be talking about PS6 could be 2027, 2028. I mean, it's certainly at least a year. I think that they could get the lead start just like they did with the 360 generation. I definitely think they're shooting for that again. Now, whether or not it happens, we'll find out. But I think that's what they're shooting for. But Matt, that leads me into the thing that I want to talk about that both of us wanted to, and you made a point of it on your Mavcast as well. I'm going to give props here to Cerny, and I'm going to give props here to PlayStation. Because Mav, they brought up what we've had discussions about that people again hate, right? There are people in this community that absolutely hate it, that think that those of us that talk about frames are just complaining to complain. We had people call us every name in the book, Mav, when we first started talking about this on games. I don't care if it's PlayStation. I don't care if it's Xbox. I don't care if it was Nintendo that came out and did a demonstration. The fact that during the PlayStation 5 Pro demonstration, Cerny made a point, because this is something that we have been trying a lot. Yeah. Argued a lot. People trying to tell us that nobody outside of those of us that talk about it care about 60 frames or performance mode. That most people will always choose the quality mode. That's all people really care about. That nobody could tell the difference between 30 and 60 really. You can't really tell. And you guys are just complaining to complain. Hats off to Mark Cerny and PlayStation, because all of their first party titles have multiple modes at launch or are added shortly thereafter. And Cerny said during that presentation, Mav, that their internal stats showed, when given the option, 75% of gamers would choose the performance mode with the higher frames. And then Cerny went on to show the difference that you get in quality between the 30 and the 60 frames when it comes to the choppiness in the gameplay, when it comes to that smoothness, all the things that we have argued about, Mav, about why it's important to give those options. Again, we have never asked for PC options. We have never even asked for all the things that PlayStation, some first-party PlayStation games have given. We've asked for 2. Give me a performance mode, give me a quality mode. That's all you got to do, devs. Right? That's all you got to do. Just give me the option to choose how I want to play. But the fact that they said their own internal stats, man, 75% of gamers choose performance mode, tells you that it's not just the enthusiasts. It's not just this community. It's not just us podcasters who want to complain and bitch and talk about something that's nonsense. It is out there in the wild, in the masses, that performance mode does feel better in most games, Matt. Not all, but most games. Again, we've talked about turn-based JRPGs. You don't need it. All that kind of shit. We could play 30 frames. But most games feel better at 60 frames. I just wanted to point that out, and I want to give them props, because this changes the narrative, Matt. Having PlayStation come out and say this, having Cerny come out and make a point that PlayStation or that PC gamers have known about for a very extremely long time, because they've had the options to run their machines the way that console gamers, we as console gamers, never had before. They have had these options. They have all understood frames. Again, there's PC gamers that claim 240 feels even better, which again, once I get to 120, I'm like, okay, if first-person shooter, I can tell that it's a little bit quicker, but that's it. There's really not a difference to me. But anyways, they made a big point, Mav, and that because this is PlayStation 5 Pro, this starts to change the narrative overall. This is something that obviously Xbox has to take notice of, no matter how many times Todd Howard wants to come out and say he prefers the cinematic 30 frames experience, all this kind of stuff. No matter how many times we're told it's a creative decision, which we have all called out bullshit on. The fact that they're making it a priority, I think, helps move the console industry forward as a whole, Mav. And I think that this now has to be taken seriously. And I think that going forward, we're going to see more devs, more publishers, including Xbox, take this legit, like, we need a performance mode. We need to make sure we make that a priority in our development time. What do you think about that part, man?
Yeah, I saw that quote when he was talking, and it just jumped out to me. I was like, wow,
there's the justification about the conversation. There's the actual numbers coming from the most popular high-end console manufacturer, where most we all, even Xbox gamers, will all say, hey, the casual market, a lot of them that just play the Maddens or the whatever, play on PlayStation, and they don't really pay attention or care about all this stuff. And that's what they argue all the time, right?
Awesome.
But for them
Absolutely.
to say that 75% of the gamers choose performance mode, it leads, that's evidence that that's the preferred method to play the games. And that's going for, especially, they have good metrics because, like you said, they're first party games. They've done a good job at having usually 3 options. Right? They've had a higher performance mode, a performance ray tracing mode, and then a fidelity mode, usually kind of on their games, right? And I've applauded them for that this entire generation. I think it's awesome because we've said, hey, console gamers deserve to have the option, right? And I think just having this number thrown out there like that, and I think that obviously the developers and the publishers got to be seeing these same things, these same statistics. That, like, you would think hopefully some of the developers start to take notice and kind of change their tune on how they decide to better optimize their games for launch and their priorities they take with hey, we're going to push the boundaries all in this regard, and we'll just optimize it later for, have secondary modes and stuff. I'm like, hey, let's have the options out the gate for the gamers and let them choose whether they want the extra reflections in the puddles, right? The extra crispness on the shadows, right? The extra detail in the foreground or in the background. I mean, on the far off characters and stuff like a lot of this stuff is what it comes down to, like these little detail fidelity things, and that just moment to moment and moving gameplay, you're not gonna notice a lot of the times, but you notice is the smoothness of the feel and the look of the game. And like for me, as this generation happened and I started playing some of these games I was used to playing at 30, playing them at 60, it was like a holy shit moment. It was like, wow, I wasn't aware of how much of a difference that this made, but I started experiencing it and I started playing every game at 60 frames. It's like, then you play a game at 30, it's like, what the fuck? It's like you jump back in time sometimes, and like you can get used to it again, and once you start playing and stuff, and it kind of melts away, and you can start having a good experience. But every single time, I'm going to choose a 60 frames mode over a 30. Every single time, and I think that this just more so than the gaming community needs to hear it or games media or whatever. It's I think the developers need to really pay attention to these statistics, just because, as like the avowed developers said, in that interview, like nobody does, or like it's a first person game or whatever. You don't need anything more than, they're like, okay.
Yeah. Excuse me?
Don't say that.
What?
Yeah, don't say
Don't
that.
say that. Don't say that. No, whatever it takes to move the conversation forward for the console players is what I was talking about. I didn't care who did it. I just thought it was great that was a part of this and that they made those stats available to everybody as to one of the reasons why they even looked at updating the Pro the way they did was to try to give the people that 60 frames with still the higher resolution, because again, of course, to Sony and their premium experience, their cinematic type games, the visuals are important to the devs. We know this. I don't think the devs are lying when the devs think that the 4K is, because this is their artwork, that they think the 4K is more important because they want their artwork to be shown off in the best light possible. Like, I don't think that they're lying that they think that way, but it's also true that gamers love the feel of 60 frames, and Sony and Cerny made that a point, like, hey, we understand, we see 75% of you choose performance mode, we want to be able to get you to that 60 frames, but we want to have the resolution bump up as well. And now hopefully all of this PSSR and this bigger GPU work to that manner. Again, we're going to find out real world, talking about this stuff, the tech, the tools. We've seen that. We've seen that devs don't always take advantage. We've seen that it doesn't always work the way that it's explained. And we're going to come to find out. Again, a lot of people are still talking, tech heads are talking about the CPU. the bottlenecks, people still talking about, oh, there's going to be a lot of devs who don't use all of this stuff and are going to wind up still at 30 frames, right? Might have better resolutions, but still going to have 30 frames games. We're going to find all that out. But obviously, they're trying. And I think that moves the conversation forward for consoles future.
Yeah, so, for sure. I mean, and ultimately what it comes down to is like, this is more powerful than the traditional PS5. But the developers, when they're going in to optimize, they're going to optimize for the base game, the PS5 first, right? Because that's going to be 90% of the PlayStation audience is going to be on the traditional PS5, so they're going to optimize for that. But guess what? Like for me, as if I was to buy a PS5 Pro, that gives me more hope for a better experience on the PS5 Pro, because you're getting the extra horsepower because on a game that's optimized for lesser hardware. That's why we got all those Xbox One games when they did all those updates and everything, and they just like, you play them on the Series X, it was like, wow, this is so much better, right? Or even from a Xbox One to a One X, when those games got updated, it was like, wow, you know. And if you go from the Xbox One X even to the Series X in the free updates we got then, and those games getting 60 frames modes, or they're getting this or that, it's because they ran so great because they were optimized for lesser hardware. They were optimized first for lesser hardware to make sure they ran okay there. Then guess what? As a gamer that's playing on a better machine, guess what? You're getting extra performance, you're getting extra fidelity, you're getting extra this and that, right? And so that is what I think the PS5 Pro users will have, is these games that are optimized, trying to be as good as they can be for the PS5. You're going to have the extra oomph for this extra smoothness, extra fidelity, and all that stuff on the Pro. So that's why, if it was me and it was Xbox and actually had a lot of games to look forward to, like on Xbox, I would be in on it. Like I would be, just because I know all those games, the Avowed, even the games that I still play, like Starfield or whatever, like, but Avowed, Fable, Perfect Dark, State of Decay, you know, Doom, South of Midnight. You could just keep going on and on and on and on, like with all these games, the roadmap that I'm looking forward to playing, right? I know that all of them will play better on a hardware that's optimized for lower, but now I have a better hardware to take advantage of like more performance, more fidelity, and that's what they're gonna have. And so, yeah, for me, I would get it if it was an Xbox, but right now that PlayStation just doesn't have the games to sell me for it, so we'll see.
Yeah, they have to have it. They have to have it showcased at some point. They have to have a roadmap at some point. Again, that's still a massive problem that everybody's just sweeping underneath the rug. Again, I'm happy for all the third parties. I'm happy for all the deals, the games, the exclusives that you guys have gotten this year. But again, that does not dismiss the fact that their first party seemingly has zero ready to show anybody.
Man, I could not.
Weird.
We were wondering. This is another thing, Pong. We were wondering, were they going to have a hopes and dreams thing for this?
Yep. I was betting they were.
Me too.
That was my bet.
Like
I predicted it.
I'm shocked that they still have nothing to show, and they actually are announced this hardware with nothing.
Nothing. Not even Ghost of Tsushima 2. Like, I thought for sure Ghost 2 would be here. Like I just was like, oh, dude, they'll show it.
It was like, seems like an easy win.
Right.
You know? Even if it was like, but it must be more than a year away.
Maybe. I mean, unless they've got surprises up their ass for next year, I can't imagine.
Or they're saving something for the Game Awards. So,
right.
Which will be, the Game Awards are going to happen after the launch of the PS5 Pro.
Yes. That's.
I don't know, man. It just doesn't make any damn sense for where they're at with their hardware. And like, no PS5 Pro update for Concord.
Jesus, would you stop? Oh my God, would you?
I mean, like, the game just came out. Why not talk about the updates for it, bro?
I hate
talk
you.
about all the extra bells and whistles you're gonna get with
that would have been a great
the
announcement.
The demandingness of Astrobot. I mean,
yeah, they were bringing it back. Oh my God, bro. Anyways, you're so bad, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. This is not the Sony of old anymore. This is not the old Sony, and they haven't been for a while. And there's obviously they are, with all the games of the Surface being canceled, they're in a gigantic lull. They've wasted a lot of years with some of their big first party teams making games. Next year is going to be another Insomniac year again, by the looks of things. But they got to have a show, man, and they got to show what the PS5 Pro can do on their first party titles outside of their remasters and remakes. I was going to say too, Matt, they did mention that they are looking at boosting a lot of PS4 games. It sounds a little bit like what we got with Xbox already. Yeah, it does. And so I can't wait to see what they do with that as well. They should have definitely had some kind of emulation with this for backwards compatibility. I can't believe they're still not doing that. But anyways, it doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. Again, overall, I think the price point is wow and nuts and crazy. It's not something that I was blown or shocked to buy because that's what I expected. I really did. I think you can go back, February or March when we started talking about this stuff and we all made guesses. I'm pretty sure I said 700. I might have hedged it 600 to 700, but I'm pretty sure I said 700. King's not the only one that's always 98% right. I love King, and how he plays that up. So I just wasn't shocked by everything that's happening in this around the PS5 Pro. And I think overall, again, I think there's a lot of overreaction, and I think a lot of people, this is going to go by the wayside. Buy it, don't buy it. It's up to you. Value's in the eye of the beholder. Again, you got to speak with your wallets. If you think it's terrible, then don't buy it. And just sit this one out. But if you think it's worth your time, this is your hobby. It's your entertainment. Nobody else can tell you how to enjoy it. It's your money. Go get it. Go get it. Like Mav and I both said, if it was Xbox, I'd probably do it, right? Because we're invested, and I'd probably wind up doing it. Anyways, what I am shocked about, Mav, is how clearly, and this is going to be kind of messy, folks. We don't do it often here. Well, we do. We do it in our own ways. Mav just did it with Concord. But I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Because there was actually defenders of this guy out here. And I've said that he's a net gain for the industry overall. And of course, you already know that I'm talking about.
Oh,
Keith.
yeah.
I think he's a net gain for the industry, what he does and what he's pushed forward with the awards and all that kind of stuff. Whether they're bullshit or not, they've pushed video games forward in a lot of ways. And I think that his Video Games Award show has given me a lot of great moments with trailers and new things showing off and all that kind of stuff. So again, he's a net gain for me. Personally, I don't like the guy. I think he's arrogant for a variety of reasons, which is fine. Again, you get the ego. He's in LA. He's part of Hollywood. He thinks he's bigger than he is. It doesn't matter. There was a defense group, Matt, back year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we would talk about the Xbox tax, when we first started bringing that up, and the Xbox bias, and we would talk about Keighley and how obvious it was that he was very, very biased against Xbox. And we had defenders of Keighley come out of the woodwork and say, absolutely fucking not. You guys are, there's no way. Keighley is none of that. Look at Keighley talks to Tim Dog when Tim Dog was an Xbox guy. Keighley talks to Tim. Of course, he's not Sony biased. Blah blah blah. Bro, after this PS5 Pro, like I don't want to. I will never stand for another person defending this motherfucker against those charges. Okay, ever. This is no holds barred.
Straight up fanboying.
It's straight. Mav, he was running damage control for Sony Corp. He's putting out inflation adjusted prices, trying to justify.
It's like he took off his mask and it's BRAP.
Straight up macroeconomics.
I know, bro. It's like, listen, what's happening?
Listen, y'all. Listen again. I think he's a net win for the gaming industry, but I will never hear another defender about him again and whether or not he is Sony biased. Jeff Keighley, you have completely, if anybody doubted or anybody wanted to actually defend you, you have taken the full mask off. Do not get upset at people. You are not allowed to get upset personally, Keighley, at anybody coming after you anymore about anything. Okay? You are not allowed to try to defend yourself against this. You absolutely ran Sony Corp ops out here on X the minute they announced the Sony 5 Pro, and there was a bunch of pushback on it. Without anything, I would not doubt that you are getting checks from Sony. I would not doubt it's not just bias. I would not doubt that you are getting the paycheck, because that was over the top, bro. And it wasn't one. You ran ops for hours for PS5 Pro. I am sorry, Keely, you have been exposed. As Alex says.
Exposed.
You are done, sir. You are 100% a Sony dude. Always have been. And those times when I said, well, when people have said, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The way he talked about Xbox right there when he announced that Xbox title, did you hear how different that was? And there was a couple times where I was like, I think people are kind of hearing what they want to hear just because it's Keely. No more, sir. 1,000% all those times. In the back of your mind, you were going, Xbox fucking sucks. I hate Phil Spencer, and I can't believe I even have to announce this game right now. Guarantee that's what's running through your head, sir. Okay? Guarantee it. You are 100% done. You are a Sony fanboy from here on out, sir. 1,000%. Mav, additional thoughts on Keely?
Yeah, it was just funny. I was just laughing at it because he was just like showing who he is, like with all this stuff. And like it was funny in contrast. Actually, a lot of games media was going against the price, right?
Yeah,
which was surprising for me as well. Like, because it was like the games media realized all this like cheering for them and anti Xboxing for years actually like maybe like this, it caused this situation. Is like what some of them are feeling like, oh, maybe like it's not okay if there's just like one successful like primary console holder in the space now, because this is expensive. We know these games media people don't like to actually spend money on games or their hardware or anything like that. They just like the freebies. They don't even review the games if they don't get them, whatsoever for free. So look at the Black Myth Wukong reviews for PS5, like their preferred platform to play on, right? So ultimately, you just got to kind of look at it and be like, well, a lot of them were against it, but Keely was there holding the flag. He was like, charge! Let's go! I'm on the Sony train. Everybody, it's so expensive and I love it. It's like, hey, if you compare it to the way the prices were back when the PS2 launched, it's really not too different from back then. And it's like, who does this sound like? And I was like, I just, my mind's going into all of these PlayStation guys that just 100% defend PlayStation no matter what they do. They can do no wrong. They can charge whatever they want. $70 games, the price increases on the subscriptions, the lack of roadmap, like it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. They can do no wrong. I don't blame anybody for being an enthusiast that prefers to play on PlayStation. If that's you, that's you. But you also have to equally hold different companies accountable and just actually kind of look at the situation and realize when things are not necessarily good for you and speak up about it. And that's something that has been the main thing that like a lot of these people just cannot criticize or give any blame or anything. In fact, they always look for the opposite way. Well, this is somebody else's fault that this is happening, or this is like somehow Xbox's fault that this is happening to us, or this is somehow this other company's fault, or this is or you know what, it's fine, everything's good, this is the way it should be, and always kind of just leaning that corporate flag and just saying, hey, this is who we are, and I care more about the company succeeding than my own wallet, right? And that's what Keely appears to be doing here, right? He's running complete damage control for it, like actually going to those comparisons and stuff like that. Well, he actually got community noted and stuff like.
Yeah, that was great, bro.
It's like amazing. It's just interesting to see that level of openness finally from him. That it exposes them, like you said, to any of the people defending that aspect of him. You can still like what he does for the industry and like all the other stuff, right? Which I do too. Yep. But like those moments when it's just obvious, and it has been in the past, where people always make excuses or say no, it's all BS and stuff. Like
all in your head.
It is 100%. the whole conversation in regards to the whole Xbox tax and all that stuff. This year has exposed that to be reality more than any other time in the history of the last couple generations, that there is this clear preference and bias out there in the games media and the games industry where they're going to look for ways to downplay or sabotage games that are perceived as good or that Xbox is trying to promote or whatever. And then with PlayStation has even the biggest fuck up of the gaming history with Concord, try and gloss over it so fucking fast, to the point now where they also have the most expensive console really ever put out if you combine all things together, saying, hey, we should expect to pay this much just because of inflation.
Right.
Like we like, regardless if you're willing to pay for it or not, and you say, hey, I will succumb to that price because I'm slowly invested and I'm a sucker, and just admit it. You know what I mean? That, hey, they got me. Right?
Yep.
But like, to go out and just try and like put damage control stuff like that is like,
that was stupid.
It's like, it's just it's another level, man. Like, I don't know.
I couldn't believe it. Like I like the initial like announcement, like he normally does. I was like, oh, okay, Keely's just being Keely, whatever. He's throwing out the announcement, giving a little extra. But man, when he threw up the freaking in the interest or the inflation adjusted pricing, I was like, you got to be,
dude.
I'm like, you're fucking done, bro.
It's like we
ain't doing this.
That's the reason that stood out is because we've only seen that done from the PlayStation fanboys.
Oh my god!
There's like a few of them out there. Whenever PlayStation would like do $70 games and stuff at first, and or in other things like that, they were always the ones to put out those like inflation charts and stuff about comparison to old pricing and all this stuff, which it's just stupid.
It was
like
insane. It was insane, bro.
You could at least make a smart tweet, like, if it was last generation, maybe it would have been able to have cheaper, but because of the way the economy is and inflation, this recently in the recent years, like the regular consoles haven't even gone down in price. So yeah, they're going to be more, unfortunately, but it's a hard pill to swallow. Is it going to be for you? I don't know. Like, you could be honest about it, but instead it's like, hey, no, see, look at this. It's the same. See, it's not too different than it's
maybe he was like, fuck
man.
it. They're third party now anyway. So fuck it. I could pull off the mask. I could stop hiding it. Just fucking flat out. I don't know, man. But it caught me off guard.
Man.
Oh my god, bro. It's crazy.
Danny Passion Official hit us with a $2 super chat.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying Astrobot will be game of the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We said it the minute it was announced. Yeah.
Yeah. Go back and watch whenever Astrobot was announced.
Guys, he's got no say in it whatsoever. Jesus fucking Christ, whatever. He's got no say. Bullshit.
We got 10 minutes left, Pong.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching it. I am watching it. Because I do. I gotta get out of here. We got a ton to get to.
We didn't talk about Annapurna. We didn't talk
about Annapurna. I was gonna say Xbox had more layoffs today. I'm sure everybody's heard about that. It's 650. A lot of it was HR. Again, this is shitty. This is ongoing in this industry. I saw people making bigger deals out of this. Tom Warren's writing articles behind paywalls claiming that this is affecting Xbox as a whole. All of these layoffs. I think that happens at any company that layoffs happen to. So I don't know why this is a bigger deal. But again, this is what we do now. And again, whether or not it's true, maybe there is more turmoil behind the scenes. Maybe there is no real strategy, as Tom Warren's trying to insinuate, that people are lost right now with what's going on over there. But that, again, happens when there are massive amounts of layoffs, and this is across the industry. It's not just an Xbox thing. Xbox just so happens to hold more employees than most publishers do because they're one of the biggest publishers now in the entire world of gaming. So it's absolutely awful. The human cost in all this is awful. But when you acquire big companies, a lot of that is going to occur. It just occurs in cycles as they get everybody acclimated and then they see where they're not needed anymore. this unfortunately is a part of it. We talked about this with the acquisitions, that we were going to see some of this stuff. Now it did come out. Also, shout out to who was it, Mav? It was our buddy. Who was it? Hold on. Oh, why can't I find it whenever I need it? It was also that I think it was Stephen Totilo. Yeah, it was Stephen Totilo. He added that in addition to the merger related cuts, again, that's what the initials were, a lot of HR people, etc. A source familiar tells me that Microsoft has laid off workers in its Warcraft Rumble and Call of Duty Warzone mobile teams. Warcraft Rumble is moving to post-launch live ops. Warzone Mobile didn't hit as big as hoped. Neither game is going offline, so they're both continuing. But there was some developer layoffs in the mobile side of things as well, which is, again, awful. But, again, it's this industry right now is in turmoil. 3-Bit posted an article today from a website talking about how devs are leaving the industry completely and going off elsewhere because it's just too risky right now. It's way too much flux right now.
Yeah, we're in like a transition stabilization period with gaming, and they're readjusting and stuff. Like, it sucks.
Yeah, trying to figure out.
Yeah, Microsoft is, they've made a huge acquisition, and they're restructuring and losing and laying off people. I mean, it's part. Unfortunately, it's a big part of it, and it sucks. It sucks for everybody that got laid off or that's getting laid off. I hope your packages are well, and I hope they find you new jobs. Whenever any of these,
reading the Phil Spencer announcement because he did as usual. I hate that corporate shit.
Yeah, it's not a huge win because it doesn't affect specific developers as much. It's like still part of the whole organization, and we don't really know what the effect's going to be. Right. So like as a gamer, we don't really know how it directly affects us yet. Will it or will it not? Was there a lot of like double jobs because they what do you call it when there's like
redundancy?
Like was there a lot of redundancies because they acquired a huge publisher and they're trying to I don't know what it's all causing it and stuff, but like ultimately it sucks regardless. So it would be better if nobody had to lose their jobs, but that didn't happen. Will Xbox and Microsoft be okay? Absolutely. All these big publishers, besides maybe Ubisoft, are I think fine right now. So, also Danny Passion Official hit with a follow up says, I also said it was when it was announced, talking about Astrobot.
Like I said, sometimes this industry is so predictable, Danny. It's crazy. It's very wild, and you can't tell all the time what's going to happen, but then there are some things that are just so predictable.
Obvious. The second that game was announced, PlayStation platformer, Astrobot, everybody loved Astro's Playroom, and they praised it. So this is going to be a slam dunk. Thatch, earlier, sorry I missed this earlier. Thatch, member for 8 months, says get the Pro now before Sony ups the cost in a year. Very well could happen.
It very well happen too.
It very well could happen. It would not surprise me whatsoever. A lot of it is dependent on economy and manufacturing costs and parts and all that stuff as well, and also part of it's greed.
Straight up. Again, they're making profits off this shit. They're like, screw it. If we're gonna do this, we're making profits. That's what I said from the get-go.
They're gonna make they're trying to make the money off of the people that are willing to spend it.
Hiroki is now in charge. The dude is straight up the Sony Corp CFO.
Yeah,
he came from Sony Corp. This ain't the same PlayStation no more. Herman might still be a familiar face, but Hiroki is in charge. Make no mistake, and that dude is a money dude whose direct line of contact is with the board and with the shareholders. And he is the CFO of the Sony Corp. He is more responsible than anybody for the shareholder prices. And what's been happening to Sony shares? Oh, they've been dipping, right? We've noticed that over the past couple years. They've dipped. Well, Hiroki's taken charge of one of their main money makers in PlayStation. So yes, he's going to start making money on everything.
You know what I heard, Pong, from behind the scenes? Somebody in the know.
Oh, okay.
This is one of those things. Somebody told me that the PS5 Pro was going to be $599 instead of $699.
Yeah.
but Concord's failure caused them to raise the price by $100.
$100.
But yeah, so that made that decision last minute. Apparently,
I thought it was the controllers going up by
well,
$5.
that did it too. It had an overall effect. on the
How
entire
much did
company.
Concord cost?
Was
Jesus, was this a $1 billion
They're
game?
trying to. They got to make up their gains, and there's like, hey, we're just gonna, the suckers that are gonna buy the PS5 Pro, we're gonna charge $100 more, and then we'll make it up that way.
Hiroki's making it. Whatever it's for, it doesn't matter. Hiroki's gonna make his freaking money on everything. There is no more.
Did you like my attempt to spread misinformation?
I did. I did. It was great disinformation attempt, man.
Yeah,
Again,
that's a lot of people do out there, is just make up shit, spread misinformation. So that was my.
Well, again, Concord in 1 week went from around 100 million to 100 million to 150 million to $250 million loss. Like I still don't know how all those numbers
do
happen.
the math. The extra $100 times, let's say, 1 million consoles, right? That's $100 million. You're easily making up Concord right there. And it doesn't matter. We'll just.
Yeah, just throw it on there. Because that's what they do.
It's it's the Concord tax added. They should actually put that on the bottom in an asterisk.
They should actually add that to the PS Plus premium members.
Yeah.
Concord payoff.
Yeah,
They should just add that as a benefit.
That's
even though it doesn't
true.
mean anything. Because obviously PlayStation players would be happy to help PlayStation pay that off.
Yeah.
Anyways, last thing before we get our outros and get everybody out of here, we were alluding to this, and Mav said it, and people in chat were alluding to it. Shout out to Sin, who also saw it earlier. We already had it in our DMs, but Annapurna, I talked about the weirdness of this week as well in this industry. We just talked about, some more layoffs for Xbox. Annapurna, again, one of my favorite indie publishers. Like, they're massive. We know this. They have their own dev team and everything. Like, Annapurna is big, right? Devolver Digital and then Annapurna. The dev team was in negotiations with Megan Ellison, the owner of Annapurna, to spin themselves off into their own company. Those negotiations broke down. It was reported earlier that by the Hollywood Reporter that the higher-ups of Annapurna, the dev team, then quit and walked out and said, we're done. Well, then it came out later, and this is from Jason Schreier, our buddy, Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg. The entire staff of Annapurna Interactive, the video game publishing division of Megan Ellison's Annapurna Studio, resigned this month following a dispute with its owner. Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary and his team had been negotiating with Ellison, the daughter of billionaire Larry Ellison, to spin off the video game division as an independent entity. When Ellison pulled out of the negotiations, Gary and other executives resigned and were followed by around 24 other staffers. All 25 members of the Annapurna Inactive team collectively resigned. Gary and the group said in a joint statement, "This was one of the hardest decisions we have ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly." A spokesperson for Annapurna confirmed that it has explored a spinoff. Parties failed to reach an agreement, which led to the resignations. Quote, "Our top priority is continuing to support our developer and publishing partners during this transition," Ellison said in a statement to Bloomberg News. "We are committed to not only our existing slate of games, but also expanding our presence in the interactive space as we continue to look for opportunities to take a more integrated approach to linear and interactive storytelling across film, TV, gaming, and theater. The exodus has led to a chaos as game developers partnered with Annapurna try to figure out what this means for their upcoming projects. As a publisher, Annapurna is responsible not only for funding games, but for handling services such as quality assurance, adapting the products for local markets, and marketing. Over the past few days, game makers working with Annapurna have scrambled to find new points of contact and figure out whether the company will continue to honor its agreements. The spokesperson said that all existing games and projects will remain under Annapurna. I'll stop there. We get the idea. Bruh. They've published games like Outer Wilds, Stray, Cocoon, like Control. They helped with Control and Alan Wake, bringing them to film and TV. Like, that's like, Annapurna's big, bro. Like,
yeah,
have your whole publishing arm quit. Like, just done. Yo, this industry's wild, man.
Yeah, I think that either there's a lot of job openings just happened, or that they will have to figure out a way to outsource it, were shut down. There was another publisher that had decided they were like they fired everybody. I can't remember who it was. But then they like are working with third party companies to like still do the job. I can't remember. We had this conversation before. I can't remember the publisher. So this is like two publishers now that don't have any staff. So it's an interesting thing that's happening. I don't understand how it works, but yeah, they'll either Annapurna Interactive will continue to exist in some form or fashion going forward. They're gonna have to rebuild up the teams, I guess, or they will cease to exist after their existing contracts are up. I don't know,
it's crazy,
or they'll sell the publishing rights to somebody else on these games. I don't know how it's going to work out. I just hope that the games that are being funded by them right now are successful or still find ways to come out. Annapurna Interactive has done great things in gaming, in my opinion, so far, kind of in that indie space, right? And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But good luck. I would assume there's going to be an announcement in not too long of a small publisher that has arisen now
out of the ashes.
For sure. Like we're here, we're announcing blah 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 publishing, and we're gonna focus on indie games. I already see it happening.
They've got all the contacts already in the industry because they were the people that working with the devs directly.
Yeah, that'd be.
So they're gonna know all the people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they'll probably be able to get out some stuff because they have good connections. They understand how the business works. So.
Yep. They'll have the funding. Somebody will back them.
It seems like it was a negotiation breakdown, probably on what their compensation was ultimately, probably. But yeah, man. Good luck to the teams. Good luck to Annapurna.
Yep, absolutely. Damn good. I see you're behind in our show and you're listening to everything. Yeah, no, I mean, again, the SSD is definitely impressive, but obviously we found out that a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. But what I'm saying about the 60 frames, you'll hear me also say that real world application, right? You could say all this is great, but we know that not all devs use all the tech, and that doesn't always work out. That's why I still think that there will be games that are limited that aren't 60. All I said was that obviously the upgrade is generally going to be able to give more consistent 60 frames on games, and to me that is important.
And that's not
damn good of
it's not far-fetched. Like most games already have a 60 frames mode. Like it's not like out of the realm of like, oh, what? Like every game coming out now is 30 frames.
Like they're coming out 120, 240.
When a game comes out that's 30 frames, it's like news. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
and we do laugh at the 8K damn good.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
8K clay.
Yeah, like when a game launches at only a 30 frames mode, it's like we all talk about it, but like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So like it's a rare situation when that kind of happens, and actually happens more on Xbox.
Yep.
With their first party than even most third party games. Like third party wise, like you have some games that are struggling to hit 60, like Hogwarts Legacy is one. You have like Gotham Knights was a 30 frames experience that we all talked about numerous times. And stuff. Does that mean that game's automatically going to turn into 60 frames? No. Right?
No.
But I do think that certain games that were close or having some trouble, like with 50 frames, 40 something frames or whatever, are they going to find it maybe a little bit easier to hit that 60 frames target? Yeah. It just, why not? Like it's not, doesn't seem far stretched, and to think that most games are going to run 60 frames on a PS5 Pro, because most games run 60 frames on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X,
or relatively close,
even a lot have 120 frames modes, or
right. What I mean? And with VRR, it's going to be even better, and all of that is just going to improve.
It's not like some kind of like technical crazy thing to think that there's going to be some level more consistency for that.
This isn't going to be native 4K 60.
No.
Okay, there will be some. It's not going to be everything.
Yeah, what I anticipate is like, okay, so the PS5 is still going to have multiple options, and then maybe there's a couple more options for PS5 Pro.
Yeah, Pro. Yep, exactly.
Like if you have a Pro, that gives you like, a little bit better fidelity, still at that performance mode, right? The 60 frames, plus we also get a little bit more of the fidelity, or you get ultra fidelity mode, which is still 30 with even more, like they tried to show off with Hogwarts Legacy, or some other kind of in between where it's just a little bit better of ray tracing with performance or something. I don't know, but ultimately the games will be better than on the traditional PS5.
Yep, and we'll see how much better. Again, we'll see real world
And you just have to
examples
ask
coming up
yourself if it's
We'll
worth the price.
Well, we're going to see up front. We're going to see a bunch of remakes and third-party titles. So we will. See how
Digital
that
Foundry
goes.
will tell us for sure how these games
Digital
are going to
Foundry.
perform. They will have the statistics.
Oh, Jesus. All right, let's get everybody out of here, Mav. So let's see here. All right.
Oh, hold on. Damn Good 75 says games will continue to be 30 frames until Xbox drops their next-gen console. Games will continue to target PS5 and Series X. No 60 frames per second. Unreal Engine 5 is trash, and that's why all games are 30 frames per second.
What?
Sorry.
I'm
That's
playing. Wait. First Descendant right now plays 120 frames Unreal Engine 5.
Also, also,
Just say,
what was it? Was it Dead Island 2? 60 frames. Unreal Engine.
Yeah, Unreal Engine 5 has gotten much better recently.
Yeah,
They're starting to get a handle on it. So there are examples, and again, I'm getting 120 on First Descendant on Xbox Series X.
There's some games that run 60 on it, some that run 30, but it's not like every game is 30 on it.
That's the next question, Blind Giant. I do not know, and they did not clarify if these PS5 Pro upgrades for their first-party titles are going to be free upgrades or if they are actually going to cost money. Because it does sound like it's not just. Steel thinks it's going to be more just performance based, and it's going to be better hardware. It's going to run the same version. From what I was hearing from Cerny, there's some programming involved in some of this PS5 Pro stuff. So I don't know if they're going to charge or not. I would not be surprised if there's a $10 upgrade fee. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Period. So, all right. Anyways, everybody, we got to get you out of here. I got stuff to do and get to bed. So, because I'm on a tight schedule. So, thank you all for joining us. Again, we were an hour late starting. Appreciate you all rolling in here, even though that happened with us. Love seeing you all. The familiar faces. Even saw some new faces tonight, which is freaking fantastic. Again, lots of news going on. Lots of fun topics. We could have sat here for another hour, 2 hours in. You know how me and Mav roll. The PS5 Pro is a big topic. We didn't even get to all the onion layers in that. There's some community stuff that I want to talk about that Steele and I will get to on Saturday. There's some new nonsense going on. There's some new commentary going on about now it's business acumen that Xbox players don't have and shouldn't be talking about business. Anyways, we'll get to a Saturday on Living Split Screen for sure. Me and Steele will get into it, but again, thank you all for joining us. Nothing but love and respect to each and every single one of you, whether you agree with all of our stuff or none of it or some of it. We love you. Again, thank you for coming out here. This is the community that we wanted to develop here on Fun Speculation and specifically on PM and the PM on Thursday nights. So appreciate you all for that. And Mav, what we got coming up? We got Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night, and you said something special. We might have some special people roll through or something.
Yeah, there's gonna be some guests roll through tomorrow because it is our 200th episode of Xbox Ultimate podcast, and that's like, I think, one of the bigger like milestones as far as like, how long you've kind of lasted and doing it continuously and consecutively. So to think that we have a podcast now on Fun Speculation that is hitting that 200 mark. Because when I first started getting in the community, I saw that they had 200 episodes. Like they've been around, you know what I mean? Like, and we have our first show to hit 200 will be tomorrow night, and that's for Xbox Ultimate Podcast, man. So yeah, we'll have some people hopefully run through. It's late for most people, we'll see how long they can stay and stuff, but you might see some people you're familiar with in the community kind of come through and kind of join the conversation a little bit. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow. It's going to be some fun conversations on the show. We'll be back again Monday for FSP. It's Fun Speculation Podcast. We'll have some more fun conversations then, and then back here with Pong and I. And if there's any other crazy news or whatever, always look out for a random Mavcast showing up. We're kind of just shoot the shit with the community and have fun with the chat. So But thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, it's been a blast, Mav, and appreciate you, brother, for another great Thursday night and all the stuff you do behind the scenes. And again, Caitlin, thank you for the awesome thumbnail again tonight, just matching exactly what I was thinking about. You guys know the drill. Pong Soul everywhere. X, formerly known as Twitter. Pong Soul on the Xbox, Epic, GOG, Steam. Excuse me, everywhere. You know me. Follow me. I'll follow you back. I am certainly going to be there tomorrow night to celebrate 200 with the gang tomorrow night. We'll see how long I get to stay tomorrow night, but definitely will be there for sure because Xbox Ultimate is my family. So please drop on by, say hi, see who's popping in and out. I'm kind of excited. I always love those kind of shows where people do that. So Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night right here. 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And then, you guys know the drill, Saturday morning, it's going to be Living Split Screen. Split Screen is all one word. Myself, my brother from another steel rain. We will have a lot to get into, as we always do. 3+ hours. Buckle up for that Saturday morning. Take you from the morning to the afternoon, or your afternoon to your evening, depending on where you are in the world. And we do get our chat involved there as well a lot. So, you're going to hear a lot of game talk on Saturday mornings. That's what we do there for the first hour and a half, 2 hours, generally speaking. We're going to talk a lot of Space Marine 2 there. Steel, again, has been playing a ton of PvP, so I can't wait to hear his update on that. Plus more. So be there for Living Split Screen, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, Saturday morning. And then Saturday night, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself. We've been back, but PTK had technical problems last week. Out of all things. So, but we are back this week, and Mav is going to be there Saturday night on the Shop Podcast. I believe PTK announced their Mavo. So we will see Mav, which is always a good time, getting to hang out with the brother again, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. The best way to end your Saturday nights is the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel. Next week it starts all over again. Tuesdays, Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Boomstick is the man. 5 days a week, but Tuesdays, Xbox Factor, all good things green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. And then, of course, our week starts right here, PM in the PM next Thursday, God willing, for another episode. Listen, y'all, it's a golden age of gaming. No matter what the hell's going on out here, you know you got that. You got more games to play than you ever have before, no matter where you're playing them at. So please, have a great Friday. Have a great start to your weekend. Get out there and enjoy some of that stuff, the goodness that is gaming right now. Play what you love. Love what you play. And I'm going to talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Hey, everyone have a good night. Peace out.